Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of international rugby. This one, Italy going head-to-head with South Africa. Now, the November internationals so far have been eventful, but none quite as eventful as this South African lineup that we have seen announced by Rassie Erasmus. He has made multiple switches compared to what we saw last week, preparing the side for their game up against Ireland just next week. But looking through at the side, we will start with South Africa, as they were the team that certainly sent shockwaves through the rugby world with their announcement. Front row, Boan Venter, Johan Grobbelaar, and Zachary Porthen, the youngster, gets himself another start at tight head prop. Now, I will mention there is a bit of hooker cover, but that is coming in the form of the number 8, Marco van Staden. He is the man who is expected that if Grobbelaar does have some sort of injury, van Staden would move to that number 2 jersey. Jean Kleyn alongside Franco Mostert. They will be the locking duo. This is first game for Jean Kleyn in quite some time. Mostert has been chopping and changing between the locking duo as well as that number 7 jersey. But for this game, slots back in as the number 5. Sio Kolisi, a man who many did not anticipate seeing in this lineup. He is playing at 6. Ben Jason Dixon at 7. And Marco van Staden, he closes out the 4-pack, slotting in as the number 8, Moré van den Berg. He makes his injury return alongside Henry Pollard, a familiar face for the Springboks. Not so much this year. We have seen a lot more of Sasha Feinberg, Ngama Zulu, as well as Marnie Libok. But Pollard, this is his game to show exactly how dangerous he can be. It's a new look 4-pack, but it is still a formidable backline that they have selected here, with Ethan Hooker and Kanan Moody making up the midfield. 2 young players with a lot of drive and a lot of hunger to try and get themselves a starting spot each and every week. Kurtley Arendse, he is out on the left wing. Edward van der Merwe, he is out on the right. The last time he played up against the Italians, he got himself 2 tries. And Damian Valimza, he will be starting at number 15. Quickly looking through at the Italian starting lineup, Fischetti, Nicotera, and Riccioni will be there as the number 3. These boys have to really muscle up at the front of the scrums, because that is somewhere that South Africa, they have been targeting throughout their last few games. They've been able to assert that 4-pack dominance, and then from there continuously push the opposition in a backwards direction. Kanoni alongside Zabonin in the locking duo, with Ross Vincent at 6, Zuliani at 7. He's been having some pretty handy form throughout the URC, and Lorenzo Kanoni, he closes out the 4-pack as the number 8. Stephen Varney alongside Paulo Garbisi as their 9 and 10 combination. So that is a duo that we did not see the last time that South Africa went head-to-head with the Italians. They were missing quite a few of their Italian internationals, all returning for this match. Thomas Monticello in the midfield, or Tommaso Monticello, I should say. Juan Inacio Brex, he is starting in at 13 and also will be captain for the Italians here. Monty Ioane out on the left. Lewis Liner, who's been scoring tries for fun throughout 2025, on the right. And Ange Capuzzo slotting in as that number 15. But those are the starting lineups, ladies and gentlemen. We have got there about how to watch. It is on Sky Sport 2 for us here in New Zealand, but of course on Super Sport DSTV 201, I believe, is the option in South Africa. We have got there, hello there, Hamish, Bok by 10 at least. Says Sue, hello Hamish, says Marion, Bok by 25 is LFG's prediction. Wonder who goes to hooker if Grobbelaar goes down. I believe Rassie himself has said Marco van Staden is that guy who is covering the hooker department. So the last thing you want is a van Staden early injury, because that pretty much takes you out of the ballpark in terms of who your replacement hooker will be. Off the bench, it is looking very different. Aria Snyman is the number 18. That is something you don't see too often in the modern era. We have got there, good morning, you walking tripod. If that is who I think it is, you've changed your name, I believe. But we have got there, Bok by 30 plus. And good evening all. Let's keep it clean and safe, but right on the line. Says Sandor there. Yeah, it should be a very physical game from these two sides. There is no denying throughout the July internationals that there was some intent from the Italians, I guess you could say, in terms of trying to find a way of beating this Boks side. Now, the benefit that they've got here is they are at home, and there will be a bit of time that the Boks need to find that cohesion due to so many switches. They have been made. Mahodin said, good afternoon, how are you, Hamish? I'm very happy, you know why. Says Mahodin there, and hey, Hamish, says Mark, welcome in. Yeah, I hope you guys are all doing extremely well. I hope you're all excited for not just this game, but also the whole day of international rugby. There is a massive match between the All Blacks and England just around the corner. 2 matches overlapping with each other. Ireland versus Australia and Fiji versus France. 2 games that definitely should not have been on at the same time in the schedule. And as a Hamish, hope everyone has a great weekend, says Anthony. Hi Hamish, hope you're well. says Daryl there. We got Italy by 21. That is a big prediction. And Italy by 34. It's getting bigger for the Italians. And how's it? Good afternoon, says Arno. Welcome in. And how's it, says Shri. And there as well. But looking through at this bench that has been talked about so much throughout this week, for the Italians, it is a normal-looking 6-2. And it is a decent-looking bench for Italy here. Pagerello and Tommaso Allen to make their way off the bench to add a bit of impact for the backline. I mentioned how crucial Tommaso Allen will be throughout this contest in terms of if Italy don't start this match in the way that they would like, they need someone to finish well in that backline, and that could be exactly the role that Tommaso Allen plays. Spagnolo alongside Simeone Ferrari as the front row replacements. When they use them, we will have to wait and see. There are times where that scrum may not quite be working as well for the Azzurri, but they may have to hold off just that little bit longer for the sake of having those guys nice and ready to make their way onto the field. And you do look at the South African bench. Gerhard Stennekamp, he is named as the 16 with Wilco Low at 17. So those are the props. The next two are the locks, or also a little bit of loose forward cover with Ruan Nokia. But Arias Snyman named as a number 18, I believe, for the first time in his whole career. But he is playing as a lock here. If not, he would be one of the tallest, if not the tallest ever prop in World Rugby. Andre Esterhuizen as the hybrid player at 20 with Quacka Smith slotting in at 21. Grant Williams and Mani Libok. They are the back replacements as well. Hamish, I reckon South Africa will win by 30. It will be a heavy crash ball approach with South Africa forwards. Yeah, the way that this bench is set up, it does seem like the guys early on are pretty much being told, go out there and make an impact. Wear down the opposition so that we can really thrive in the last 20 to 30 minutes of the contest. If Labok can get on and Moody goes hard in the midfield, watch out Italy. C.S. Sander, yeah, we've seen such a great impact being played by Mani Libok off the bench. Bit similar to what we see from the All Blacks with Damian McKenzie, how, you give him that last 20 or so minutes and tell him to change a game, and he does, each and every time. We have got there Zachary Porthan, should not be in the team. For what reason? Is it the fact that he's inexperienced, or just you don't like him as a prop? Rassi has been known time and time again to try and build a little bit of depth. So I think that to put Zachary Porthan in this match shows Rassi's got quite a bit of confidence in the youngster, and that he sees him more as a long-term tight head prop. We've got to remember, he's only just been in the under-20s, Zachary Porthan, so still growing, you could say as well, for the youngster. But yeah, will be very intriguing to see how long they give him. We saw Bowen Fenter taken off the field early in the last match. World Rugby is currently investigating the box for steroids usage, random drug tests. I have a bad feeling multiple blocks are going to fail. That's a 4-year ban automatically. It says clause. The thing is, though, they've been randomly tested hundreds of times before, and they haven't failed as a majority. Of course, there's always those outliers. We saw Joseph Parker recently. He just got himself in a bit of trouble and banned from boxing for about 2 years, it looks like, because he was doing a bit of the nose beers. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to find what they're probably hoping to in this Springbok DNA. It's all biltong and big weights. And hey, Hamish, I reckon South Africa going to win by 30. And also, g'day, Hamish, hope you're well. It's my birthday today, so I hope the Box can beat Italy, says Brett. Is your birthday the 15th or the 16th, Brett? Because if it's the 15th, you actually share the same birthday as my sister. Fun fact, unless you are my sister with a different name. That would be a plot twist. We have got there greetings from Botswana, Hamish. Box will smash Italy by 30 plus points. Pleased to hear that you are over the cold from last week. You were wonderful to have covered those matches with such a bad cold. It was pretty brutal, and I'm glad that it's pretty much gone. I would say I'm still about 10% from being back to 100%, so 90%, but we're doing a lot better this week. Been able to go more than a couple minutes without sneezing, so that is a massive bonus. 50 plus for the Bok today, says Big Boy Games. And also, hi Hamish, do you sound much better for this weekend's game, says Desmond. And also, we have got there, what's your score prediction for this game? I went 44-19 in favour of the Springboks, and I feel like that can either be regarded as harsh on Italy or harsh on the Springboks, depending on how it goes. We have got there 15th, Hamish, and happy B-Day to your sister as well, mate, and very interested to see how our new caps and combos play. Yeah, it's certainly different in the starting lineup, but like I mentioned in the preview, a lot of the changes that have been made actually do make sense when you start to break them down. You look at that locking duo, for instance, that's going to hold that whole back line, that whole forward back together. Kolisi's experience You've got Mako Fun starting at 8. That's the one that for me is probably the most intriguing, because I would have thought they'd go Mako Fun starting as the number 6 and then go Sia Kolisi 8 like they did a little bit earlier on in the year. That's some cold you got yourself, says Sister there. How long till kickoff? At the moment, we have got a total of, must be 40 minutes or so. 45 minutes, in fact. My apologies. Struggled with the maths. I'm about to sneeze. I think I just jinxed it. Hopefully the only one in the build-up. One moment, ladies and gents. There we go. We're good. And we have got there, how many more suspension and cards do you think we will get in today's game? Well, Jasper Vess is not playing, so that means that there's a lot less chance that we will see the South Africans get themselves carded. I don't think we're going to see any suspensions. We'll probably see a card or two. At the moment in World Rugby, that seems to be the case every single game. You end up in that scenario with at least one player going down to a yellow or a red, or multiple players. And some of the November internationals we have got there as well. Morning, Hamish. Good to see you, says Corin. Welcome in. And also, we have got there, hey, Rudolph still got the cold, about 10% or so of the cold. But it's all good. I think it's just because of the fact that I said I need a couple good nights' sleep, and then I didn't do that. And we have got there, Hamish, you sneezed all over the camera, can't see. Says the Hills have pies. And also, there's only 4 players that also smashed the ABs in Wellington, and then are mostly in the bats. Says on the right, yeah, this backline is not that different from what we have seen in the past from Rassie. I'd say the biggest change is the fact that Ethan Hooker is now getting that opportunity in the number 12 jersey rather than playing out on the wing like he has been predominantly throughout his Springbok career. A little early, ain't we, Hamish? There's Big Rick. Not really. Normally for the Springbok games, we have about an hour. We only had 55 minutes for today, but also we've got all of the other internationals to talk about in the build-up as well. There are plenty of them taking place throughout this weekend, and next week there are plenty of them as well. This is the upcoming schedule in terms of the international games next week, ladies and gents, and that is not including on Wednesday, taking place earlier on, the matches between Samoa alongside their game, I believe it's Samoa-Belgium, and then Brazil versus Namibia. Now, that game between Samoa and Belgium, that will determine who goes through to that Rugby World Cup, the last qualification spot before the draw is announced in early December, just around the corner. But Georgia playing the Japanese, Romania playing Uruguay. That overlaps with Wales versus New Zealand, which we will be covering on the channel. Spain versus Fiji, also overlapping with Wales versus New Zealand. I'm not sure who did these schedulings, but they didn't do a great job, I have to say. There are a lot of big overlaps of games that would have been great enough to have separate. Portugal versus Canada, Ireland versus South Africa. That is regarded as the big match of the weekend, although there are a couple dark horses in there as well, such as France versus Australia, Italy versus Chile. Now, initially, that game was going to be up against Samoa because it was anticipated that Samoa would qualify for the Rugby World Cup. No one expected them to go to the absolute last stage of the repechage, but they do, which means that Chile get a massive opportunity to see how they go in a game up against the Italians. Scotland versus Tonga, as well as England versus Argentina. They are the 2 Monday morning games. And then this game down here, Wales versus South Africa. It is the lone international taking place for the last week of November. Also on that weekend, there is the Sevens. There is also the URC returning. So, of course, there'll be a few guys that maybe would have been playing in the URC who are now playing for the Springboks in that contest. But, yeah, plenty happening in the very near future. We have got Sandor has become a member. Thank you very much once again, mate. And Sasha isn't playing, mate, says Sri. And there as well, and Sasha will be man of the match with a spectacular 28 points. I assume you're talking next week up against the Irish for Sasha in that case. There are some big decisions that Rassie has to make heading into that game in terms of who do you select in a game up against Ireland if this side here up against Italy does extremely well. And good afternoon, fellow box supporters. Let us all enjoy the game. And Cape Town is very windy today, says Desmond there. And also I wonder what the reaction will be if somehow Italy does beat the Box. It's a tricky one to know. And I don't think many people have thought about it that much. I've looked at the Springbok side and said it's going to be strong enough. Now, I will mention Italy aren't as big of an underdog as they normally would be up against South Africa in terms of the betting odds. But I don't know whether or not, even with so many changes here, like we've still got to look at the Springbok side and realise they are a very good side. And it's only going to be maybe a little bit of the cohesion early on that could end up costing them. But then they will find their rhythm. And later on in the game, that is when they'll be absolutely very dangerous. What are the odds for this match? One moment, we'll go like this, we'll go like that. There we go. So Italy are regarded as, they were $7 underdogs. They've actually dropped down to $6.50 and maybe even less than that now. I'll have a quick look while we are at it. I see exactly where the Italians do find themselves sitting. Sport, where'd it go? There we go, Rugby Internationals. Oh no, they've dropped actually back out to $7. So that is correct at the moment. But as you can see, South Africa having 2 comfortable wins in their first 2 matches, including that massive one over the French just last week. 32 points to 17. That was a statement victory at the Stade de France. And even with the red card, they were able to do that out there on the park. They've got Ireland next week. That's a huge game. That is such a big one. And hopefully it lives up to the expectations. There will be a lot of, I'm sure, back and forth between the fan bases throughout the week. But as long as the match is good, that is all I am hoping for in that one. And then also that game up against Wales, the last of November. For the Italians, they had a great win over the Australians just last week, winning at 26 points to 19. And then they have got now Chile next week. This game here, if they could somehow pull off a victory, imagine Italy go 3 from 3 in their November internationals. That would be such a huge one for them. And also in terms of the world rankings, and put them in quite a comfortable position heading into the draw. Oh, we have there. Good luck, the Bok. How's it all? Says Stephanie. Welcome in. And good luck, Bok. Says Symbol Ngile. And I hope there is no controversy with referees again. Craziness must stop. Yeah. The thing is, though, there probably will be. Because we've been talking about the consistency of refereeing, or the lack thereof, for the past about maybe 5 years. And nothing's happened. So there will be controversial moments. You just hope that it doesn't cost either side the game completely. And that we can keep 15 on the field for as long as physically possible for both of these sides. Evening, Hamish. Hope that you're feeling better. Thanks for the commentary. Says Joss, no worries at all. Oh, we have got there. Shout out to the 3% that picked the draw, says Simon. And you're pulling an all-nighter, says Low Swinger. We certainly are, yes. So we got this game. Then we got England versus the All Blacks. And then from there, going on to that match, I'm covering Fiji versus France. But we've got someone else popping on the channel to cover Ireland versus Australia. So, yeah, actually managing to do 2 streams at the same time on the live stream. Appreciate how you dress up for the big games. Big respect. Cheers from Durban. Says Brian there. And also we have got the always the best updates here. Says Sean. Greatly appreciated, of course. What time is the game starting? The game is starting in 38 minutes time. So we are not a mile away from the start of this contest. It is getting closer and closer. We have got there as your sister's birthday today. How old is she? Congrats on my part, says Monet. She is 2 years older than myself. So anyone who does remember my age, add a couple and you're good to go. We have got there, South Africa is going to win with 44 and Italy 34. Says Ockert there. And how's the hay fever doing? The hay fever's not too bad at the moment. Only sneezing occasionally, which is great news. And hopefully that is the way that it stays throughout the live stream. Good afternoon all. Been raining this side. Hopefully it rains tries for the Boks. Says Hayno, and they certainly have the capabilities. You know, you look at this attacking backline that South Africa have selected here. Kane Moody and Ethan Hooker in the midfield, if possible. A quick run down to the AB's team, please. So, for the All Blacks side, they have made a few limited changes, mainly due to injury and injury returns. Scott Barrett goes back in as the number 4. He replaces Josh Lord, who makes his way to the bench. Simon Parker comes back into the starting lineup. That is at number 6, with Satiti going to that bench. And then Lester Fainarnuku's gone to the left wing, with Billy Proctor into 13. Those are the main switches for the All Blacks. But we're going to have a big build-up for that live stream as well, starting in around 3 hours' time. Oh, in fact, a little bit less than that, so be sure to check that out. One moment, about to sneeze again. I think I unfortunately jinxed it when I said that I wasn't sneezing yet. And we have got there, when are you going to do a commentary with your mother? Sounds like an insult, doesn't it? But it's not in this scenario, because we have done commentaries with her before. It would be a pretty tough ask to get her out of bed at about 3 or 4 a.m. to be able to watch one of these games on a Sunday morning. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do something in the near future. I actually learnt that last year, this round of the November Internationals, I got my mum and dad to commentate. Or in fact, it was 3 years ago, back in 2022, I believe. And that was kind of an old school throwback live stream. I was doing the Rugby League World Cup at the time. Unless you Hamish, it's a lucky sneeze. And winner South Africa and England, says DG. And I'll be rooting for our championship brothers this weekend. Let's show the North how lame Six Nations is, says Robert. Or just how strong some of these southern sides are at the moment. Looking forward to the game. I put the TV sound down and listen to your commentary, says Gary. I said, yeah, it's always appreciated. We will try our best to be able to sync it up at this point in time. we've got some cycling highlights at the moment here in New Zealand. The one sad thing about the build-ups here in New Zealand for November is they only show like 10 minutes. So you get a national anthem, and that's about it. We have got there, Hamish. Look at the park. Let's go. Says Moss there. And good day, Hamish. Trust you're feeling better than last weekend. Bok for a big win today. Says Philip Bailey. Yeah, a lot of people are predicting a big Springbok victory for this game. There are some who think that it could be quite close in that regard as well. We have got there, what are your thoughts on 2 Cents Rugby father Gaza? Says Martin. Yeah, he's going through it at the moment with his leukemia. I have been told by Mark that he's a relatively big fan of our channel in the past, but yeah, a pretty tough one to go through for any family. Definitely one, like, you got to realize, for Mark, he's literally on YouTube pretty much every single day. So you guys see him through everything, and there's going to be that really tough patch for him as well. So just make sure you keep on supporting him is the main thing. I really want to see him get to 100,000 before the worst case scenario. So I hope that he gets there because he is so close. He's only about 1,500 away. What time is there? Says Sean, at the moment it is 1:06 a.m. for us here in New Zealand. So we are only sitting less than the 35 minutes away from the kickoff of this contest. I'm happy whoever wins New Zealand versus England. New Zealand tiers are just next level. Says Hayno there. And also this is what happens when mum and dad stay married. Good solid children. Says Sandor there. And also we have got there. I'll be surprised if the Boks don't win by 20 plus. But there is a good chance that he will recover, right, Gaza? In this scenario, I don't think so, sadly. I think that they've done the treatment to try and extend how long he's got, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be much longer. But the last video that Mark did probably summarizes it a little bit better, and also one of the ones a little bit prior to that where he was talking with his dad. But yeah, I don't think that's an option anymore, sadly. We have there, Bowen Fenter will light it up today. Says Sean Gunter, well, I hope he gets more than 31 minutes. Rusty taking him off extremely early in the last match, only about 31 minutes through. Six Nations is so lame. Actually, it is the most spectator-supported tournament in world sport, says Akaris here. Yeah, I absolutely love watching it each and every year. And we have got there, is New Zealand just like AU elections every 3 years? I think so. I'm honestly really bad at following politics, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like, I don't even know what's happening anywhere in the world pretty much. Playing today, says Simongile. And also, people are underestimating how good Italy are these days for the first 60 minutes they will be in the game. Yeah, it's just that last 20, isn't it? And it's going to be tricky. Because once Italy start to slow down, that is when we're going to see South Africa really start to pick up the pace. Once again, talking about the bench that they have got in this contest. And also looking through at what happened the last 2 times that these sides played. It was in July. South Africa winning the first game, 42 points to 24. That was actually a very similar lineup per se to what we are seeing in this contest when it comes to the backline. That match, we did see Morne van den Berg and Andre Pollard as the 9-10 combination. We saw Kudli Arendse out on the left wing. Damian Valimza, he was at fullback. But that second game, 45-0, that was when there were changes. And I think that tactically with Morne van den Berg and Andre Pollard, it's very hard to know what type of game plan is going to be implemented by the Springboks here, because I would say that Pollard will go for a little bit of a kicking battle, but then at the same time, I think that's exactly what the Italians would want, because that's going to give them time to be able to recover, and also at the same time, they're pretty decent with a kicking territory battle, so I actually think that if South Africa go kicking orientated, that plays into Italy's hands here. And with that little bit of chemistry that needs to be built up when it comes to that Springbok 4-pack, because of the fact that we haven't seen these 8 players together before, that is where Italy have their best chance. But once again, last 20 minutes, it's going to be very tough. We have got there, couldn't agree more, man, spot on. Says Mark Darren, up the Boks and New Zealand to win. And Six Nations is fun, except Italy usually gets smashed every single game, says Big Rick. Not necessarily true. I believe they were able to beat the Welsh in the last Six Nations competition. And also the year prior, didn't they almost beat Scotland or one of those sides? They are actually no longer the easy beats that they once were, the Italians. A little bit similar to what we see for Argentina in the Rugby Championship. How's it, Hamish? Hoping you're well again. Pretty much at the stage, sitting about 10% sick still, but we're getting through. And you'll need more sleep, and then you'd have been cured. You've been naughty for not sleeping. says Mornay. I feel like I'm being told off by a parent. But yeah, I should have tried to get a little bit more sleep, but it's been a very busy week. I don't actually think I got a decent rest until about Wednesday with work and everything. How long is Pollard going to stay on? I think they'll give him a good 60 minutes because, if they take him off early, that's really not going to keep people happy. But then at the same time, Rassi will have his plan and he'll know exactly when he wants to bring him off in this scenario. And also, Marnie Libok, you wonder whereabouts they will slot him into, whether or not maybe Pollard moves to 12. Could see Ethan Hooker go to the wing. There are so many little switches that could end up happening. People keep saying Springboks had a great year. Keep in mind, they did lose against Australia and New Zealand, so they are not invincible, says Martin. I think that overall, Rassi, yes, at the start of the year, he said that he wants to have the clean sweep the whole way through, but with the amount of rotation that he has made compared to a lot of other international coaches, there were always going to be a couple hurdles. Now, the only 2 losses that they've had was the first of the Rugby Championship, which was, I would definitely call it an outlier, and then that game at Eden Park. Outside of that, though, the Boks have been very, very strong. You look at last week up against a French side that were considered as 50-50 with the Springboks. Boks put 15 on them with the red card. You got that game next week, though, up against the Irish. I do think that will be one of the tougher challenges for South Africa throughout this year. They have a Ferrari in the back line, but sadly no Lambo. That's going to cost them as we have a Williams, says Stan there. And Pollard will kick it over, says Mohamed. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Andre Pollard's kicking for today because for a lot of people, that is the part of Andre Pollard's game that they say is the reason he should be in the lineup. So if he only sits about, let's say, if he takes 7 kicks and gets 4 of them over, people will argue, well, Sasha or Mani could have done that. So I do think that Pollard also has to show off his attacking skill in this contest and can't just rely on that goal kicking to get him now into the Springbok side. There is a lot more competition in that number 10 jersey than there was and only about maybe 6 to 12 months ago. How's it, Hamish? Looking much better than last week. Says Dion. Yeah, we've certainly recovered a lot from last week's streams. We somehow managed to get through it, feeling a lot better though. This one when it's the Rugby World Cup in 2027, taking place in October and November, I believe. And we have got there 2027, says Brett, and Georgia just beat America. So look at the score. South Africa beat Georgia, says Mario. And there, yeah, the Georgians are actually playing at the moment. I did see just before someone wanted to know a score update for that contest. So what we will quickly do is we will get that before this match gets underway. At the moment, Georgia are leading over the Canadians 5-0. They're actually building up some very nice momentum as they head towards this Rugby World Cup, the Georgians. And they have got a physical 4-pack as always. We have got there, if you would choose a Rugby World Cup final in person, which one and at which stadium? I mean, that one in Stade de France, just for the light show alone, would have been well and truly worth it to be able to go to that. We have got a donation from Philip there. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Someone asked who the referee is in this game, and that is James Dolman. In this contest, Hamish, have you heard of vitamin C? Certainly have. We had tons of oranges last week. A couple of kiwi fruit as well. And all sorts just trying to get better and raring to go. Zachary Portham will get player of the game, I assume that is, from Simply Real. And thanks, Martin. We needed that jinx. And to try Pollard at 15. Says Petrus, are you wearing pants? I am not. I'm wearing shorts, though. So I have got something on the bottom half for this one. But yeah, we are only sitting around 25 minutes away from the start of this contest. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to, of course, get those score predictions in. And if possible, don't talk daft, says Neil there. I'm confused at which one that's to. I assume that's to someone in the chat about maybe Andre Pollard in that regard. And hi, Hamish from GQ. Our Rassi's contract was not extended. There's still time, though. Like, I know that for Rassi, the later that he leaves it, the more money that South Africa probably have to throw at him. And he got them by the balls because he can say, look, I've given you a couple World Cups. I'll go somewhere else and I will give them World Cups. So you either want another one or I can go. So, definitely if he wins in 2027 as well, you just, what do? Do you just keep on paying him more and more money? Or do you go, we'll risk letting him coach someone else and have them bring home a World Cup for themselves? We have got there Morne van den Berg. We'll have a hat-trick of tries, says Simply Real. He's a very strong player, Morne van den Berg. Some people don't seem to rate him at international level, but I quite like what he's been able to do so far. throughout his young career. We've got to remember he was in a very competitive era of Springbok halfbacks, finally fought his way to the top and then managed to pick up a bit of an injury. We have got there when the game starts. The game's starting in 25 minutes time, so we are getting pretty close. It's not about money or World Cups. Russie wants to retain his coaching staff, says Prince C. But yeah, he's got all the power at this stage, Russie Erasmus. So, you know, it's not just him who they have to try and find the money to pay. It is also all the other guys. Tony Brown is one that will definitely be on a radar for a lot of teams. Pollard has always been one of my favourite players. He's a fantastic player. I hate that people try to push him aside. He is still young, says Dion. Yeah, I think people forget how young Handré Pollard is, and that he's still got plenty of time left in his international career. But, of course, with the younger players who have broken onto the scene, the likes of a Sasha, like, there is always going to be that next shiny toy for South Africa because of the amazing depth that they're able to build. So, you know, it's whether or not those veteran guys can stick around. And this year we've kind of seen the passing of the torch in some regard. You know, we're no longer seeing a Faf de Klerk or a Willie Leroux now. They seem to have taken the step aside and allowing those younger guys to do well. I'll contribute to Russie's salary myself. If I must, he cannot go and coach another country. Says Yanko there. And Russie will never drop South Africa. He won't go nowhere. Says Estelle. And Pollard is a class act. He is here to stay for a few years yet. Says Sean. And you always know with Handré Pollard that you've got a great option to, it sounds terrible to say, but to fall back on. You know, if Sasha ends up reaching a patch where he is out of form and Marnie's not quite doing the job off the bench, you know that if you stick Pollard out there, he's going to be able to win you games, definitely close ones. People forget what he was able to do throughout that Rugby World Cup. You know, like, it's just so competitive in that 10 jersey at the moment. I'd rather support, before I support the box, says Miami. And also for me, I will wait and see what happens at the Rugby World Cup before I give him the contract personally. Says Haino there. And if Russie leaves the Springboks, it's going to be a Man United situation like when Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Says the Hills have pies. And true, Pollard accurate on the goal kick, says Brett. He certainly is. He's got plenty of talent off of that kicking team. But what we will quickly do, ladies and gents, we look through at what happened or what is happening next week. But what happened last week was, that's the wrong one. There we go. Whole heap of international rugby, ladies and gents. These games all took place throughout about a 48-hour period in the world of rugby. We did see Georgia get themselves the win over the USA and a big win for Ireland over Japan. Maybe not as big as people wanted to see, but they are building nicely. They are sitting 2 wins from 2 in their November internationals as they get prepared. In fact, 1 from 1, I believe 2 from 2 if they beat the Australians today. Or is it? Who did they play in the first round, Ireland? I'm sure they've played someone else before Japan. I can't quite think of who it was, though. Oh, it was literally the All Blacks. What am I on about? So 2 wins from, well, 1 from 2, I should say, for Ireland there. New Zealand 15 getting themselves the win for Ireland, eh? Uruguay, big win over Portugal. That was actually a little bit more one-sided than a lot of people anticipated for that contest. Samoa getting a great win over Brazil and Belgium having that narrow victory over the Namibians. Now, since then, we've also seen Samoa beat Namibia and Belgium had a narrow win over Brazil. Romania beating the Canadians. New Zealand beating Scotland by just the 8 points. Ireland beating Spain. Italy with the massive victory over the Australians by the 7 points, which would have built a little bit more confidence heading into this contest. England versus Fiji, 20-point difference there. Those two sides still in action later on for today. And then the 15-point win for the South Africans. Argentina had a bit of a seesaw type of battle with the Welsh throughout that first half, but ran away with it in the second to secure, I believe, the only game with 50 points or more, with the exception of Ireland Spain, which I guess some wouldn't count as an international, but of the international games, they were the only side to bring up 50 points last week in a match. They have got their back time, or back with the tie. See, as Mr. Theme there. Yeah, we have got the tie and suit back on for this one. Zachary Portham will get man of the match. And also we have got their no Pollard. We don't lift the cup in 2023. Says Sandor, and France is going to win against Fiji. They should. I believe they come in as quite heavy favourites for that contest. And we have got their Mone van den Berg will have a hat-trick of tries. And also we have got their Madagascar 21 points to 14. Winning over Tunisia in the women's sevens for anyone who's wondering. There you go. And South Africa 46, Italy 18. Says Stephanie. And there too, So plenty of predictions still of about that 25 points in favour of the Springboks. Now, I will mention we're only 20 minutes away from the kickoff. Listening while driving. Hello, everyone. So here's Carlin. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. G'day, Hamish. Another great weekend of rugby coming up. And I don't underestimate my Fijian side. Anything can happen. And we are actually going to be covering that game on the channel. I've got someone who will be doing the commentary for Australia versus Ireland. And myself, we will be sticking with the Fijians to see if they can somehow hang in there up against Les Bleus. Now, a lot of those Fijian players actually do have experience playing in France, so who knows how they'll end up going in that match. And where will it leave South Africa Rugby? If the plane that the Boks came back with crashes, says Casper, I think that's one of the most terrible comments that you've ever said, Casper, and you've said some awful ones. I feel like you don't even want to think that way. And to think that your mind goes there just makes no sense whatsoever. Ethan Hooker and Kanan Moody, great combination, says Sean there. And Abies to pull it off against the South Africa, or England, South Africa to beat the Italians, says Daryl there. And also we have got their Boks by 15. Italy won't roll over. And Hamish, read my message. How much is Springbok paying? At the moment, they are not very high up on the odds in terms of if you're trying to make money off the Boks. They're only paying $1.08 in this case. So, yeah. Not exactly a big price tag on the Boks for today. Italy considered as the $7 underdog, which isn't actually sitting too badly for them at the moment. And we have got their Ethan Hooker is my spirit animal, says Arno. And the fact that he can play in the centres as well as out on the wing, I think makes him a very great option for the Springbok side. Casper is 12 brandies deep, says I Lollipop. And also we have got their, if that happened to whoever lifted the 2027 World Cup would feel like a fraud. And 20 minutes ago, man, I was flicking the World Channel, finding the game, says 1 Pierre Bosch, so it is Sky Sport 2 for us here in New Zealand. There's a lot of cycling still going on, and we only get 10 minutes of build-up here in New Zealand, which is a bit of a shame. I feel like, you want at least 30 minutes of seeing the ground and seeing everything along those lines. So what's your strategy if you're Italy? I think that you have to be physical up front early, and you also, the thing is you have to pace yourself a little bit. Because you can't go emptying the gas tank early on unless you're confident that that will be enough points to be able to beat the Springboks in the long run, which I don't think is the case. I think that it has to be, a well thought out performance from the Italians. Bit of territory as well would go a long way just to try and force South Africa deep. And you have to try and put pressure on that lineout because it is a new change for them, having Johan Rovela in the starting lineup again. In the scrums, you've got two inexperienced international players and Boyan Fenta, Zachary Porthen. So you have to rely on your chemistry if you are the Italians, but that is easier said than done up against the world champs. And we have got there who are the three hookers. Who of the three hookers will be the best for the Boks? So who's your third hooker in this scenario? You've got Johan Rovela, you've got Marco van Staden. Who else can play hooker in this Springbok side? Do let me know. One moment, I'm about to sneeze. So we will go like this and like that. Here we go. Oh, we were blurry, but now we're back. How many hours till the game? We have got 17 minutes, Brian. So very close to the start of this one. DST build-up is an hour long. Yeah, for us here in New Zealand, we get the last 10 minutes. We pretty much get the scraps of the whole international build-up. Whereas for the All Blacks games, they normally have a good hour or so beforehand. But yeah, that's the one good thing about the Rugby Championship is they give us pretty much all of the option. Ethan Hooker, not position as third hooker, says Joss. And your sneeze messed up my internet connection. Buffered when you sneezed. Can I have biltong on my pizza? I think so. Although it'd be quite chewy, wouldn't it? To have biltong rather than just beef. I feel Boks will be slow with penalties, so pretty controlled by them. Reckon Boks 32-17. Boks play like the first game against Australia. I reckon they will barely win. Boks 22-18. And Ethan Hooker says, hey no. Yeah, so you probably back Ethan Hooker as the best out of the three. Of course, not in the hooker department, but just in terms of what he's been able to do throughout his young Springbok career. The man has got a ton of talent. I believe I heard that people were saying that he hasn't scored a try yet. International week, or international rugby, I should say. We have got there, your abs must have been, or I must have had a workout this week with all the sneezing, says Stephanie, and they are still not visible. So, very sad news in that regard. Are you going to keep the buzz cut, says Dylan? I'm not sure. It's taken a while to grow back. And once it grows back, I have no idea what to do with it. But I'm sure at some point when it gets to a certain length, people will start saying, nah, you got to do another forfeit, and then it will probably end up getting all chopped off again. Here's the thing, though. Will the Boks even go all out or just experiment like a college student in 2027? See, here's Big Rig. Yeah, see, the Springboks, certain players, I think, may take a little bit of a passenger approach in this game. If Rasi has had clear communication, like there will be certain guys who know that they're playing next week, so they may not go as hard as they physically can. But the thing is, them not going 100%, if they're still going 80 or 90%, they will still be world class. So that is where it gets so challenging for Italy. We have got there, the buzz yearns to stay. Says Dylan there, and how many tries did Pollard have? I'm not actually too sure of Andre Pollard's try scoring. I know that he did score late up against the Italians, I believe, in July. And boys, you got show what your mama gave you. Show what your mama gave. I assume that's to the Springboks rather than to myself. Depends on the weather, says Ben. You need to grow a full Tarzan header here. You might lose your headphones in there, but it will be cool. It doesn't work for myself, unfortunately. My hair's a bit too thin. We've done the long hair stage. Didn't work at all. So now I'm on to the shorter hair. My cousin, though, he is like a full, like probably down to about, I'd say, about here worth of hair. And it's just a big frizzy mess. We need an R9 haircut. Says, hey, no there, what is an R9 haircut? I don't think I've heard of that. Surely All Blacks versus England is the match to cover. Says, Meteorite, we are covering it on the channel. It is the next match that is taking place later on, so we're covering that one alongside France versus Fiji and also Ireland versus Australia. But yeah, we're covering all of the Springboks, all the All Blacks, and as many internationals as we can throughout July. We have got their Mostert nickname is Sauce, which means sauce. Mostert means mustard. We have got their 9 rand. Says Stephanie, that is a cheap haircut, I assume. Do the Hitman clean shave and get a barcode tattoo. See, that one's more likely than the full header here, I would say. And Georgia 10 points to 3, leading at the moment over the Canadians. But looking through at the starting lineups yet again, ladies and gents, as we do get very close to the kickoff, only 13 minutes away from the start of this game. Fischetti, Nicotera, and Riccioni starting in as the number 3. Nicolo Canoni alongside Zabonin in the locking duo with Ross Vincent, Zuliani, and also Lorenzo Canoni to close out. The Italian 4-pack, Stephen Varney and Paolo Garbisi, like I mentioned last time. These two sides played, they did not have those two men at the helm. And they did have Dare alongside, I think it was Garbisi in the number 9 jersey, but the other Garbisi there. Mononcello in the midfield alongside Juan Inacio Brex, Montejoani, Lewis Liner, and then Ange Capuzio starting in as that number 15. Now, looking through at the Springboks, they have made plenty of changes compared to what we saw last week. Boyan Fenta gets himself the start as the number 1. Johan Robela, he slots in at 2 with Zachary Porthin as that 3. Jean Klein alongside Franco Mostert in the locking duo. So Klein comes in for one of his first games of 2025. Mostert, I want to say that this is maybe his second start as a number 5 this year. He has played a bit more of 7 though as well. And then in the loose forward trio, Seal Kolisi, Ben Jason Dixon, and Marco van Staden, who is the replacement hooker. And this matchup, Morne Vandenberg alongside Andre Pollard as the 9 and 10. Ethan Hooker and Kanan Moody in the midfield. So Hooker has predominantly been playing out on the wing for a Springbok career, but now gets that chance in the middle of the field. Kurt Liarense, Edward van der Merwe, and Damian Willemse slots in as that number 15. So overall, a very attacking-minded backline, I would say. The question mark is around Andre Pollard and whether or not he will play in that same way or whether he will play his natural game, which is more of a controlled kind of approach. But we will soon know, because within the first 5 minutes or so, I think we'll see either that little bit of extra intent from the Springboks, or we will see them have that more methodical game plan to break down this Italian side. In the long run, looking at the bench, and for South Africa, they have got a prop named as the 16, they've got a lock named as the 18, and they have got that 6-2, 5-3, 4-4 split, depending on how you look at it. And this Gontes Gerhard Stennekamp as that 16, alongside Wilco Low at 17, Harges Neyman and Ruan Nokia as the locking replacements. So Nokia can also slot into 7, Andre Esterhuizen and Kwaka Smith as the 20 and the 21, then Grant Williams and Mani Libok, they will be the back replacements for the Italians. They've got some decent power in their fullback. Spagnolo and Ferrari need to step up here in the propping side of things. Federico Rosa, a very handy man who would normally be starting for the Italians, but instead they have got him making his way off the bench for this game. Favorito's there as well, and then Pedrello and Tommaso Allen, the two back replacements for Italy. And this game we have got there, can you shave your head to look like a rugby ball? I don't think it will look like a rugby ball though. So I will just be bald in that scenario. Get dreadlocks and commentate in a Jamaican accent. That sounds like a great way to get cancelled. And whereas the young number 10, Sasha Feinberg Ngumazulu, is not playing in this game, I assume he's being rested because, of course, just around the corner, they have got their matchup up against the Irish for the Box House. George, he's doing well, doing about 60 hours a week at the moment in the farming side of things. So the man has been absolutely flat out, which is why he hasn't had too much of a chance to feature as of late. I hope the Box have an absolute shocker, says Aslan there. And the one thing that always blows my mind is even though Pollard is a veteran, that's been around forever. He's only 31. Yeah, he's still got a few good years in him, Andre Pollard, if given some more opportunity. They have just got that South African flag. Looks like there's a little bit of rain at the stadium. Now, this is one of the many Allianz stadiums around the world. This one, it is the Juventus home stadium in football. South Africa 68-7 over the Italians. Not first to the very bitter end, says Krista. Yeah, they're about to make their way out onto the field. These two sides 9 minutes away from the kickoff. It looks like Italy are still doing their last-minute preparations for this game, doing the jogging behind the post. They are leaving it quite late, unless, of course, that was just the bench and maybe the extra reserves just in case of the late injuries. That seems like an important bloke. That is the Italian coach. That is why you should wear a tie that with the team's colours that are winning during the game. Does that mean each time that someone scores who wasn't in the lead, I have to rip the tie off and then switch to the other one, though? We have got there, Faf seems to be an expired player, says Martin. And the thing is, if Faf de Klerk was called upon, he'd probably still do extremely well. Because, like, the last time we saw Faf de Klerk in an international kit for the Springboks, he actually looked rejuvenated off the bench. He had some extra pace, had a little bit of extra zip than what we are used to seeing, and then got injured. And since then, we have not known whether or not that Faf de Klerk kind of slightly more attacking style was a flash in the pan, or whether that was actually how he was going to be playing from now on. Clip-ons. So here's Mr. Them there, and also we've got that hey from Ghost Rider. Welcome in. Keep a spray bottle on your desk so that you can intermittently spray your face to emulate the rainy conditions. Remember the immersion, says John in there as well. How long do they play rugby before retired? Normally, a lot of guys will look at around that 35 as their time to retire, but some will play till 40, some will retire early. Sadly, we've seen so many great players who have had to hang up the boots before they were at their best because of retirement, certain injuries and whatnot. But yeah, a bit of a player-to-player basis in that regard. I'm going to the real live game now by said Mario, so we will see you later on. And hi, mate, how you doing? Thank you for the coverage. No worries at all. See you, Khaleesi. He is singing in the tunnel. He is one of about 2 Springboks who are singing, but no matter who is singing, Sia is always the one who is leading them. Yeah, he is the only one singing, Sia Khaleesi. You wish some of his teammates would join in with him, or Jean Klein saying a couple words maybe. However, good afternoon, Hamish Seth Farouk. And there, and Sia Khaleesi has more years playing in him than Faf de Klerk. And explain the field size being small. Are the 522-metre lines the same? So, based on this field, I believe the only difference is the width of the park, similar to what we saw actually last week, or the week prior, sorry. New Zealand versus Ireland was just played on a bit more of a narrow field. And I believe that this is the same. Good day, Hamish. Says Byron, welcome in, but both sides have just made their way out of the tunnels, getting ready to go for this contest. They will have the national anthems, and then we will be underway for the first of many internationals of today. But of course, anyone who hasn't already, let me know your last-minute score predictions for this game. How old's Franco Mostert? He is 34 years of age. So he is getting closer to that question mark of whether or not he will be there for that next World Cup. And good luck, boys. Crack a game ahead, says John. And there as well. But I also want to know your first try scorer in this contest. Who is the player who will break through? For me, I'm thinking Edwald van der Merwe. He scored 2 tries last time that these two sides went head-to-head. And that was just in July, so he is certainly fresh, rearing to go. He hasn't had a lot of game time at this point in time. Still got to remember with these guys, These with guys still Gen Z. Can't order a coffee without a counsellor. Says Sandon. Also, we've got there Matanonu is like Mike Tyson. Yeah, Matanonu's still going, breaking records in the top 14. He broke his own record for being the oldest player in the top 14. And Kwaka. Oh, so you're going Kwaka Smith first try, which would mean we don't see a try up until probably around 50 to 60 minutes through this game. It looks like they have got an orchestra who will be playing the South African national anthem. Did you see that sly smile from Tony Brown? Does that mean he knows? Says Albert there. I think that Tony Brown will certainly have a game plan heading into this contest, and the main plan will be just to absolutely run this opposition off their feet in the Italians. If they're able to do that effectively, then they should have quite a bit of success for this game. But what we will quickly do is go like that and like that as well, so that we have got the try scorers as they pop up down the bottom of the screen. Anyone who hasn't already, like I mentioned, be sure to let me know what your prediction for this game is. And also, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So we have got plenty more coming in the near future, including England versus the All Blacks just around the corner. After that, Fiji versus France. And also Ireland versus Australia. I agree with you, Hamish Ebwell, to score the first try. And also, how's it, Hamish? Good to see you again from Sudan. And still going, or soon going home for December, says Marius. And also, sorry, Springboks, the Azzurri taking this one. Well, it's been talked about. That last big upset win for the Italians was back in 2000, I believe, 18, up against the Springboks. Now, a lot has changed since then, but I would almost argue that this Italian side, since that moment, has actually gotten stronger. Now, the Springboks have as well, though. They have stacked aside, and even with so many changes, they are still absolutely world-class. Feel like this is going to be a fast tempo type of game, even with the rain, although both sides may start a little bit slower just to get the hang of how wet it's going to be out there. Glad to see you're feeling better today, says Sheridan there. Yeah, last week it was pretty brutal, but we're back rearing to go for this week as well. But the South African national anthem has just been sung. The side is fired up. Sia Kolisi, the captain for this game, did get to stay in the starting lineup. No Ebenezer for this contest. No Jesse Creel for a couple of the other guys who have had that captaincy. You Box need to remember it's not too long ago since you lost 2 games. So not being so cocky, says Neil. Yeah, although they have had some pretty good games since then. These South Africans, they're on a nice little win streak at this point in time. I do love the Italian national anthem. It's such an upbeat one. It's got a bit of a banging backtrack too. The problem with Scott Robertson is he's too afraid to rotate a lot of players in his team. The team is pretty fatigued. Says Martin in. And Springboks to win. Going to be a romp at the park. Says Donald there. And 105 says Brett. I assume that's someone's score prediction, right? And go see her make us proud, says John. And cricket score today, people. Says so you are in there as well. 1 second, I'm just about to sneeze, but that will hopefully be the last one of the whole contest with a little bit of luck. We are good to go. 100 points you probably could only see before 1996. And hey, Hamish, what's your prediction for the ABs versus England? I think it's going to be extremely close between those two sides. My prediction originally was England by 2. That got me in a lot of trouble. Almost got deported from the country. What's happening to Lukhanyo? He used to be first choice for the Springboks. He is, I think, retired from international rugby and is going overseas instead. Just showing Monty Ioane singing the national anthem of the Italians. That awkward moment when you realise that South Africa is struggling on the scoreboard while he's on the pitch, and they pull away the moment he got replaced by a better player. Says Powerbite. We're talking about Pollard, Sasha, who are we thinking? Or Lukhanyo? I see All Blacks teaching England a lesson, says Sister. And then good luck to our Springboker, says Colin there as well. But the Italian national anthem, it has been sung, which means we are now rearing to go for this contest. I'm very excited about this game. It's just a very intriguing one. You look through at this Italian side and it is strong compared to what we have seen in the July internationals. You look through at South Africa's team and there are so many changes in this forward pack. But the big worry for myself, Johan Grobbelaar, Mako van Staden, they both have to remain injury-free, or at least one of them does, for the 80 minutes, because that is pretty much who is going to be playing the hooker role. If Grobbelaar goes down early, we will see Van Staden take on the hooker. If we see Van Staden go down early, Grobbelaar, who's only been given maybe 10 or less minutes throughout his last few Springbok performances, will be expected to play 80 minutes up against a physical Italian side. So, if they can avoid the injuries though, it's going to be good to go. We're talking about captain sidelines Sio Kolisi. As he struggles to fire when he's on the pitch. Says power bite 92. Yeah, although he's still, I would still keep Sio Kolisi in a starting lineup. For me, he is the pick of the sixes at this point in time. I know that people are talking about Van Staden being that next guy to replace him later on, but there's no denying that Sio Kolisi seems to just have a way of firing up this team and getting them in the contest. We have got there send the All Blacks to Dagestan. Forget until the World Cup and they will win it. Says Cameron K, first try for Ethan Hooker. Says Albert for the prediction there. And all the best to both teams. Let's just hope for a fair injury-free game. Yeah, it's getting close to the end of the November internationals. Although for the Springboks, still 2 more matches. So if these guys can all get out of it without any sort of injuries, they would be more than happy. And it also buys them probably 1 more match later on. In November, James Dolman doing this. He's looking for a ball. And they haven't got one on the field at the moment, so they've got to try and find one. How many caps do Pollard have? Says Mohaden. He's got a fair few, doesn't he, Andre Pollard? I don't actually know the exact number, but he is about to touch this ball and about to kick it off for the South Africans. Ethan Hooker to score the first try. Says Albert there. I thought Marks was playing Hooker for the first try. Says Sandor there. But the pressure it will be building for these players. Andre Pollard, if there's anyone out there who seems to not feel pressure, it is that man. The ice in his veins, the kicking accuracy that is always formidable, and he will be kicking this one off left to right. We're underway for a rainy game between Italy and South Africa, and it is nicely taken by Kanoni just outside of his 5-metre line. When are the English playing in the morning? They are playing in about 2.5 hours' time as when that game's going to be kicking off, but this one's going to be kicked downfield from the Italians down towards the halfway line, taken by Damien Valimza, who fends off Lewis Liner. A bit of a step there from Valimza getting around Nicotera as well. Morne Vandenberg back to Pollard, slings it away to the right-hand side, finds Ethan Hooker situated in that 12 jersey for this match. Italy wanting the steal in the breakdown. Kanoni unable to get it. Moody for the first try, says Craig there too. And good afternoon, says Christo. Welcome in. Good physicality shown by the Italians, almost turning it into a rolling maul. Vandenberg goes back to Pollard, and it's the up and under from the Springbok veteran. And Moody taking it beautifully, but Italy right over the ball. Don't quite get themselves the steal. Morne Vandenberg 30 metres out from the line for the Springboks. First carry for Johan Grobelaar of the day. The first of perhaps many he has partnered with Marco van Staden, but Italy getting the breakdown and rip it away. That is Zuliani, who has managed to get the first steal and the first penalty of the contest for Gli Azzurri. We have got there Springboks 53, Italy, Gli Azzurri 11. Says Stephen there, but yeah, great take from Kane and Moody under the high ball initially and then locking over the ball for Zuliani, not letting it go. What's the score at the moment? It's 0-0 between these two sides after 90 seconds. And I Hampshire people, says Danielle, welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. That ball kicked into touch by the Italians. Italy have won just one of their last 18 test matches. It was back in 2016 that they were able to win that, not 2018. And now, Giacomo Nicotera. This is where Italy, if they are going to somehow pull off an upset win, this has to be accurate, this line-out throw right now. They've gone to the front, and it is claimed by the Italians. So that is the first step in the right direction for the Italians. Monti Ioane chasing after the high boot, and it is bouncing awkwardly, going towards the sideline. Is that a 50-22? Not quite by the looks of it. It's going to be the Springboks who have got themselves the ball now. I believe the line out was taken from inside of the half, so it is considered as taken back by the Italians. Now, watch from the USA, says Ducati there. Now, South Africa ready to have their first line out throw of the contest. Johan Grobelaar, like I mentioned, he's had a few moments off of the bench throughout the season, but nothing substantial. And the last little while, 4 minutes, going to the front, nicely taken by Jean Klein. Now, Morne Vandenberg passes it across to Sio Kolisi, who hits the ball up to about 15 metres out from the Springbok line. Needs Sir John Kerwin to pull off an upset. Says Rutz there. That one's going to be kicked high again. Nicely taken by Kurt Liarense already. We are seeing a little bit of dominance in the air from the Springbok side. Carrying forward Ben Jason Dixon for his first carry in quite some time for the Boks. And an advantage going against the Italians. Not rolling away. Now chance to run it. Johan Grobelaar. Morne Vandenberg goes back to Andre Pollard. Little chip in behind, well controlled by Italy. Try and kick it forward, but it goes back into the hands of Morne Vandenberg. He kicks it in behind, and they'll go back for the initial Springbok penalty. Springbok aerial game already ascendant. Says DG, a little sorry, good afternoon. You sound and look much better than last week, says Peter. Welcome in, Peter. You are doing well, and yeah, feeling a lot better than we were for last weekend's matches. But this one, I don't think this is going to be a kickable 3. It's about 55 metres out, so Pollard probably would have the distance if he really wanted to, but I believe instead we will see the South Africans look towards the corner in the early stages of this match. Now, the Box will probably go home with another win, says LBW. Sorry, WBW, I should say. Right, Pollard kicking this one towards the near touch line. And go, the Box says Heather there too. This one will be about 30 metres out from the try line. In fact, a little bit further than that, about 40 metres out. They're saying there, no wind out there on the park. Just a little bit of rain was falling beforehand. Hamish is a cricket brain, says Big Rig. Now ready to throw it in. Johan Robela. About 40 metres out from the line, looking to go to the front and nicely controlled. No rolling maul here for the Box. Instead, Andre Pollard back in the pocket will kick it high once again, having a chase after it. Ball bounces dead, too much on that one from Andre Pollard, and they will retreat back to where it was kicked from. Too many mistakes from the Box at the moment, says LB. It's been a bit of a shaky start. Had a couple little errors here and there. That time Pollard getting too much depth on his kick. It looks like they are going to be going for the scrum now. The Italians, not a full house for this in Italy, which is a pity, says Stephen. And yeah, I'm not too sure how much the weather had to do with that. The fact that they haven't got the full crowd here for this contest. Whether or not it is just one of those games that people weren't wanting to go to. Pollard is going to kick a lot, says it's Nino. I believe it will be the game plan. In fact, I would almost say it's going to be the same game plan as we saw last week, except now we're seeing Pollard doing the kicking from that 10 jersey rather than Sasha. And thanks for the commentary. Says Ben, no worries at all. Now ready to put this ball in for Stephen Varney in that number 9 jersey for the Italians throughout the July Internationals. It was Alejandro Garbisi who did get his chance in the 9. Now backline movement, Monty Ioane breaking through for the Italians, going towards the sideline, kicks it in behind. Lewis Liner chasing, but Ange Capuzio was the man who actually won the foot race up until Kurtley Arendse cleans up the ball. Italy forcing the Box into touch. Morne Vandenberg decides he wants to push absolutely everyone, but Italy will have themselves the line out now, only about 6 or 7 metres from the Springbok try line. We're seeing a bit of passion shown early on for both of these sides, but Monty Ioane breaking the line beautifully and then kicking it in behind for Capuzio on the inside. Kurtley Arendse, great cover defence from him. We have got, Pollard's good name is tarnished, recency bias. Pollard is awesome. Says Sander there. No visuals, so up to you, Sir Hamish. Paint the picture of the Box winning. Says Peter, well, at the moment, they are going to have to defend just out from their own line. Looks like a bit of push and shove. Oh, no. Okay, so pretty much what has happened there is the penalty has been awarded against Italy because of a push after they won the penalty. So the one big chance that the Italians were probably going to have throughout this first half, they have just blundered because of a little push from, I believe that would have been Ross Vincent. So that is pure stupidity from the Italians. You can call it what it is. But now it means that the Springboks do not have to survive a few metres out from their line. Instead, it's going to be the Springbok line out around the halfway line. The Springboks wins. It will truly be a happy birthday for me. So this guy's just talking, says Nishan. That is correct. Yeah, if you want to catch the game, you can watch it on Sky Sports, Super Sports, Stan Sport, and all the sporting options around with the broadcasters. They have got the game now running this one forward. And that's a big driving tackle from the Italians, but the Box in possession of the ball, 35 metres out from their line at the moment. That one's going to be kicked high by Morne Vandenberg towards the halfway line, knocked on by Jean Klein. So that's going to be the Italian scrum on the halfway line. Ross Vincent sounds very Italian. Says Katzenel, didn't Vandenberg also push people? He did. I think that, to be fair, I think that Vandenberg did the first slight push, but we saw Ross Vincent do the big push on Morne Vandenberg afterwards. So that is the one that James Dolman saw, the one who came running in from far back. If it had just been a bit of push and shove between, I think it was Vandenberg and maybe Varney, it would have been fine. But because of the fact that someone came flying in to push, means that, that's why. Oh, Sio Kolisi getting a bit of ice on the neck at the moment, saying that it's a bit sore. He's getting a massage from the medics 8 minutes into the contest. And good afternoon, Hamish. How are you today? I'm a little bit late today. It's good to see you again. Where's the scruffy chap? Are you on the way to a wedding or job interview, B-Day boy? Says Basil, though not my birthday, it is my sister's, but did decide to shave, and don't know if it was the right choice yet, I'll be honest. Big lads need to be professional, can't blame the ref, says Big Rig, and Italy trying to scare us, says Sayur. And good afternoon, Hamish, says Tino Tenda in there too, but the scrum for the Italians again. We have not seen a scrum feed for the box as of yet. We're going to see it there, just a crunching tackle on Sio Kolisi initially. Massaging Kolisi with ice, says Danielle there. And the last thing that they want is an early injury, although I will be honest, they've got plenty of cover off the bench if they do need it. Nice to see you back to your best, says Cool Story there. Right, the TMO has had a look at that tackle on Sio Kolisi, and it is not going to be anything more than just the scrum to the Italians still. Stephen Varney to put the ball in around the halfway line. Happy birthday, Brett. See you there. And, a little bit of a pre-engagement from both sides. So James Dolman stands them back up. We have got there, you're the poor man's super sport, says Handog there. I hope you gave your sister a link to the stream for her birthday. I did not, no. She's probably asleep at the moment. We have got there, Italy to bag it by 60 points to 3. Watching from Mount Everest, no oxygen, says more digital media. Well, that sounds dangerous. 85% back to your best, says Cool Story. We're now ready to put the ball in again. Stephen Varney, let's see if we can get this scrum down like the first. Zachary Porthan, the youngster on this near side of the scrum today. He's going up against Daniele Fischetti. And that one's going to be held on to by the Italians. Polo Garbisi looking to kick it in behind, looking for a 50-22, but Valimza gets back and calls the mark. I am ready for all the rugby. I absolutely am. Next game around the corner. And it's going to be the contest taking place between New Zealand and England. And then 2 matches after that, France versus Fiji, as well as Australia versus Ireland to look forward to. And there as well, looks like Damien Valimza is about to call. Oh, he's going to boot this one downfield, I should say, after his mark. And does manage to find the touchline. Did you go to cricket practice? I did on Thursday. And we have got the Hamish Sky Sports and Super Sports should sponsor you your channel. Thank you for covering your events, bro. Pizza with pineapple for you, says Sior. And good morning, says Ryan. Welcome in. Now, line-out throw here for the Italians. We are past 10 minutes in this contest, and it is still even between these two sides. Gilles Como, Nicotera, ready to throw it in. It has been talked about how the Springboks will finish in this contest. So if you are the Italians, you do need points on the board sooner rather than later. But Varney goes across to Garbisi. Now, Juan Amashio breaks, joins the breakdown as Zuliani hits it up. Now, Varney going back across to the left-hand side. Some good attacking intent here from the Italians. And on off to the left-hand side, Alejandro Garbisi. Inside border, Manoncello finds his offload, moves it on. Juan Ignacio breaks, kicks it in behind Ioane. Chase it after it. Ball sits up and he just ends up dropping it. I believe here we will see these South Africans go for the scrum, but that is once again a very nice attack and play from Italy. Lively start to the contest for them. I do see DG has just said Italy lively too. Well, that was almost a no-arms tackle there from Franco Mostert in the replay. Monty Ioane just doesn't quite get the bounce of the ball. Not a lot of arms here from Valimza either. Oh no, there's a little half wrap on that near side, shoulder to the chest of Monty Ioane. There's a lot of smiles at the moment from the Italian coach. My cricketer's history, says Ben Brits there. Right. Guess what we're looking at? I can tell you right now, it's probably either Franco Mostert or Damien Valimza. One of those two. 5 for the Springboks. Franco Mostert may be in a little bit of trouble here. Rivers just not going to penalise South Africa, says LB. And pizzas for everyone. So we are going to see the replay here. They haven't gone to the right one. They're showing Damien Valimza's clean out. It is in the initial build-up. We saw Franco Mostert line up a player and smack him, I believe it was chest height. We're going to see it now. Yeah, it's a little bit late from Mostert too on Paulo Garbisi. It's kind of one of those from Mostert. I don't think he necessarily meant to try and decapitate Garbisi. I think that this may be a penalty only, purely based off what he wasn't even looking, Franco Mostert. So I feel like he didn't know that Garbisi had ducked in that scenario. Show us the game, says Brain Rot. Sadly, I cannot, or else we will get ourselves penalised. The crowd are not happy about it, but I don't see this as anything more than a penalty. He ducked down, and it's pretty much forced through the chest with a little bit clipping maybe the chin of Garbisi. It did look worse from the behind angle, this one here. But no, I don't think that's anything serious. I cleaned them up. It's all in the name. And Italy is going to win. One can just see it coming. Okay, Ben O'Keefe and James Dolman seem like they're arguing at the moment about what the decision should be here. There seems to be a little bit of tension at the moment between the referees. Okay, sounds like Ben O'Keefe wants to be the main referee for this contest, as he sounds like he's telling James Dolman what he feels it should be. So they're saying there that there's no arm wrap from Franco Mostert, and it is more so a shoulder clean out like that is the motion we're seeing from Mostert. And Married Couple says Sandor there. Imagine a referee push a shove. That would be quite funny, wouldn't it? Now, the good news is Alejandro Garbisi got straight back up. It doesn't look like he's taken a huge amount of collision from Ben O'Keefe. His wife probably didn't cook for him. Says Sayur, and ouch, says WBW. What? Piss off? What did they just say? Did they just say permanent red card? Because of no clear wrapping attempt from Franco Mostert. This sounds like a permanent red card, ladies and gentlemen. They're all in agreement. This is going to be a red card for Franco Mostert. He's going to be on the ban list with Ludiacha. No way, another FFS is that exact same as Diacha. Diacha's was a little bit different. I thought this one didn't look as bad. There's no mitigation because of no arm wrap from Franco Mostert, who has come in and gone like that. Now, Garbisi was dropping, but because of a lack of arm wrap, it's a permanent red, and now 70 minutes, the Boks are going to be playing with 14 here. Tell you what, if there weren't already conspiracy theories, there's going to be a few more after this one. That is for sure. Unbelievable, says DG. This is insane, handing out red cards like candy. So Franco Mostert, he is off the field. As an AB supporter at WGF, I want to watch the game. The game is on Supersport, Stan Sport, Sky Sport. There's a few different options. I get it. The ref want to make the game more. See, I would argue that there's a bit of an arm wrap there at the time of the collision. What must I do? So if you are Supersport or you are in South Africa, it is the option of Supersport. So you're just going to go on to Supersport and then sign up for a subscription. But Paulo Garbisi, he misses the kick, which means that the score remains as 0-0. I don't like this. But if you have one to Diacha, you have to do the same here for consistency. I wish neither of them was, though. Yeah, see, for me, Diacha's was worse. And that one, for me, still wasn't a permanent red. No clear head contact. Yeah, I don't even know if he... Like I mentioned, it was mainly through the chest and maybe got a bit of the chin. But definitely not as much as a permanent red card. We seem very keen to hand those out nowadays. How much you promised the ref, says Stuart there. And also for consistency, the Italian player also needed a red card this game, says Matsusa. That is going to be the penalty going the way of the Italians. Oh no, sorry, going back for the scrum feed. But 12 minutes into this contest, the Boks are going to be tested once again. Who gets the sin bin? It was Franco Mostert. Was taken off shoulder to collarbone. It is now a red card. Says JP, yeah, it looks like there is about to be a change made by the Springboks as well. See, that's a shame. Ben Jason Dixon now makes his way off. He finally earns himself a Springbok opportunity. 13 minutes he gets to play, and now he has to go from the field because of that red card. Should have been a yellow. And yellow at most, I reckon. We'll smash him with 13, bring it on, leave the squabble Rassi to challenge, says Tyrone. I didn't see head contact, so that makes difference. But if you saw it, you need to stay consistent again. I wish neither was. I don't understand how this was, but Thomas versus Argentina wasn't, says Argent Swiss. But now it's going to be the scrum feed. Springboks now have 7 in the 4 pack. Give us another. Bok will still win, says the big 7. There's no head contact, was a secondary contact, says Ferran. Their position at the moment, 64% in favour of South Africa, but the Italians, they are still hanging in there. 0-0 at the moment. And Rassi will make another video, says Hanoi there. Yeah, see, I didn't get to hear all of what they were deciding on for the referees, but I have no idea how it went from what sounded like to be just a penalty to all of a sudden a permanent red card. So I will have to listen back to that at some point later on. Now going forward, and there's an advantage. Now the Italian scrum pack get the penalty. Got to remember, they've got an extra man on the field now. It's a game-changing moment of momentum. I made the joke at the start of the stream about the cards. I regret making the joke, says Cut. And number 1 prop for Italy, doing his best Porter impression, says LB, and watching from, that's a decent name there. Sorry, Baghdad again. I see that there's supposed to be the space there. Keep up the great job, says Amish. I thought that was the name of the place for a starter. Full on, big long one. What an absolute sham, says Down South. Yeah, yellow, I was calling it penalty only at the start of it. But now ready to throw it in for Giacomo Nicotera. Nicely taken at the front. Looping around inside border, Lewis Liner, who's tackled beautifully low by Kurtli Arinsa. But the Italians, they are on hot attack once more, sitting just the 10 metres out from the try line. Little chip across, Monte Ioane going up for it, but nice take from Damien Valimza. Decides against calling the mark, kicks it into touch, and about 25 metres out from the line, it will be the Italian line out. Bro, seriously, was there even a head contact, says Cole? I think that it was chest, then head, but for me, by the sounds of it, the reason that they gave it as a straight red was because of the lack of arm wrap from Franco Mostert. So that was the same as what they got for Ludiacha. So obviously something's changed in the law book just recently that says if you don't wrap your arms, you're getting permanent red cards. Which is, I mean, yeah, it's certainly a different one. Now told to use it there. The ball is in the hands of the South African Jean Klein. Now tackled about 40 metres out from the line. They want the red card, or want to red card the South Africans. Now rolling this one. And we have got there as well Beverly Kempster watching from Croatia. From South Africa, says Beverly. So it is greatly appreciated. You've been here, Ange Capuzio running on the short side. Plenty of pace showed. He does a chip in behind. And Damien Valimza back again to cover for the box. He's getting his positioning spot on at the moment. It's ridiculous from the referee. Where does he learn his rugby, says Farouk. Yeah, see, I want to listen to it again. Because it seemed like Ben O'Keefe and James Dolman weren't on the same page. So I want to know who was the guy pushing for red and who was the guy pushing for a penalty in that scenario. Cody Taylor will get pinged for no arms, says Evo King. They are just showing the aerial challenge. Been a bit 50-50. Watch the ABs versus England game. There's going to be many tackles like that one and none will be carded, says LB. It's going to be chipped in behind from Ange Capuzio just in that replay, but Valimza knew that it was coming, and it seems like the Springboks at the moment are having a very decent bit of work from the back. Ben O'Keefe is the problem, although he's only the touch judge in this scenario. So it's one that you would think that Dolman and the TMO would have more power at this stage. South Africa has beef with him, says Monique. Although it was only last year, I was being told by many South Africans that they did like Ben O'Keefe. So obviously something has happened since then. But now the ball in the hands of the Italians once more. Marco van Staden having a bit of a chat to, I believe that would have been Fischetti there. I felt van Staden was almost stripped of his kit. Now going off to the left-hand side. Garbrisi going now to Ross Vincent. And ridiculous red card, says Andrew, and who got a red? It was Franco Mostert for the South Africans. A permanent red as well, which means that they cannot have someone return after 20 minutes. Garbrisi knocking it backwards. Manoncello, no-look pass on the outside. Finds Lewis Liner. Tries to cut back inwards, but again, great defensive work from Arinsa as well as Damien Valimza. Two-man tackle. including Johan Robela. Now past across, loopy ball. It's going to be the advantage for a knock-on against South Africa, losing a few metres there for the Italians. And we have there, also simple, ref hates us, so they give red cards. Says Caroline, if there's discrepancy amongst refs, it should be 20-minute red, so TMO can review. Says Ruts there. There's a big driving tackle there from Kana Mooney, but just as he was making that tackle, the hand did end up clipping the ball. So it is the knock-on. And also, Bok fans, no, not like that. Says Big Rick. And also, will Rugby either... Oh, we're seeing another change here. So Wilco Lowe is onto the field for Zachary Porthin. And that is because of what we are seeing in the scrummaging department for Danielo Fischetti. So Lowe, this is almost the equivalent of a start for that man. So already Rassi has made 2 big switches off of his bench. And the reality is, he's probably showing who he feels are the weaker links in this four pack at the moment. The fact that you take a youngster off, in this scenario, you can understand why they want that experience at scrum time when scrummaging with 7. Rassi, sparing no one's feelings today, says Younger, yeah, he's just doing what he feels he needs to win in this matchup. But now, goes in, Italy, holding on now. And that is going to be, I believe, another advantage. No, in fact, it's not going to be in this scenario. Now Monty Ioane dropping the ball, tackled off. And it's going to be in the hands of Morne van den Berg. Drop ball from the Italians. So they will go back for the scrum for the South Africans. I thought there would be 5 tries by now, says Big Rig. And the red card means Rugby has gone soft. If that's a permanent red, I want to see what a 20-minute red infringement is. Says just me. Yeah, see, the only difference for me compared to some of them that we've seen is the fact that they really were strong on the no wrapping of the arms. That was the one big factor for the Ludiache tackle as well. Okay, I think James Dolman just having a chat to both front rows here. And just saying pretty much make sure that you are both scrummaging straight in this scenario. Sia Khaleesi is the weakest link. Rassi still worried. Says Bower Bite. And we have got there too much brandy and coke. Casper says Mountain Strand. And also Rassi doesn't do sentiment. That's why he's the best, says Jimbo. Now ball's going to be fed in. I believe the Springboks at this point in time are still scrummaging with the 7. No, in fact, I've got someone on that far side. I want to say that's Ethan Hooker who has joined into the scrum. And this is the part of the game that the South Africans really want to dominate. But that ball has popped out and they've lost their first scrum of the contest. Going off to the left-hand side, chipped across field. For the Italians, it just goes into touch. They're trying to kick it too often at the moment here. Italy, every time they get an attack going, their first instinct is to try and kick it in behind. That time it goes into touch. So you're allowed to punch a South African player and red card gets withdrawn. But a Springbok cannot touch a player anywhere from the waist up. French doing the cameraman or cameras in Italy today. And says not the weakest link. You're just a racist fool. Says Kamo there and also waste a kick. Says Hanoi there. Yeah, it just seems to be that they're too keen to go to the foot rather than throwing it through their hands. At the end of the day, they do have a man advantage. They can try and use that to their advantage here. But Johan Grobela ready to throw this ball in. And Italy trying to get the steal, unable to do so. Jean Klein takes it nicely. Now Sia Khaleesi, the attack and run up to the 22-metre line. Now rolling this one back. And good crowd. There isn't that many to watch Italy in the Six Nations. Lewis Liner slapping it back, but right there ready for it was Rua Nokia. And the benefit of Nokia is he can play where he made his way onto the field for Ben Jason Dixon in that number 7 jersey. But then alongside that, another steal on the breakdown from the Italians. But yeah, alongside that, interception taken by Kurtley Arden. I'm just trying to finish the sentence, but the Boks keep getting the ball back. Alongside that, now I've forgotten the sentence. We were close. Now Zachary doesn't have a proper chance to improve his skills. Adaptability will once again have to pull us through, says Deza. And no head contact was shoulder to shoulder. Says Andrew, yeah, it seemed like a lot of the force was through the chest. But yeah, it seems to be the one that really made them go to the red card was the fact that there were no wrapping motion from Franco Mostert. But I felt like he was getting in the process of doing it. It looks like a bit of an injury here for Marco Recchioni on the forearm. An amazing fielding by Arense, says Jimbo. Now we have got the agree. Come on, boys. Let's stop complaining. Do what we do best. As shown last week, pull together, be positive. Let's play rugby. Is this another change from Rassi? Yes, it is. Tell you what, Brian Fenter's going to hate international rugby. He's played 2 matches and played 52 combined starting minutes at this point in time. Rassi making another switch to go to Gerhard Stennekamp. Obviously feeling that the scrum is not doing enough in this scenario. Thanks for the detailed commentary, man, says Ivan. And yep, Brian is off too, says Yanko. So at least he got almost as many minutes as he had last week, trying to steal that one in the line out with Ruan Nokia, but slapped into the hands of the Italians. Now rolling this one back. And kick downfield from Stephen Varney. Nicely taken by Arendse. He could be an absolute key in the Springbok backline. Damien Willemse almost sneaking through. Box by 2. Bowen lasted 24 minutes last weekend. Or this weekend, says Haino. Cross kick into the hands of Moody. Tackling hooker. Now offload to Arendse. In fact, I think I was giving Arendse credit. I think that was Edwald van der Merwe who got the interception. They both got the same headgear on and very similar builds. But yeah, I believe it was actually van der Merwe and another knock on from the South Africans. We have their Sand Sport commentators are dumb. They say how strange it is that the South African scrum is suffering, but they don't even see they use 7 men for some of them. Yeah, see, that's probably, that's the thing. If you're scrummaging up against 8 and you're only using 7, you're always going to be slightly pushed back anyway, aren't you? That scrum that they had, where they had the 8 with Ethan Hooker on the side, you could argue that they actually probably didn't go too badly there, and it seemed like a penalty could have gone either way. So, yeah, I think they'll be fine when it comes to the scrums. What are the subs that were made? So far we have seen Brian Venter off for Gerhard Stennekamp, Zachary Porthen off for Wilco Lowe, and Ben Jason Dixon off for Ruan Nokia. Sorry, the commentator threw me off. He called him Sia Colosi, which is a bit of a new pronunciation of the name. We have got their refs messing first half. Says Gotso there. Yeah, 25 minutes through this game at the moment. Moody was literally tackled in the air. It looked very early out on that wing. Now, big push again, another advantage going the way of the Italians. Again, just kicking the ball away, though. It's the about 3rd or 4th time that they have tried to do that. We have got the, just tuned in. What was the red card for? A wide permanent instead of a red. So it was for Franco Mostert. It was the shoulder to the chest that then rode up to the neck. Now, a lot of the impact did seem to go through the chest, and also for Franco, another change. Not Edward van der Merwe. He's been great in this game, but he's now going to be taken off the field, and that is for Andre Esterhuizen, so that they have an extra forward for the scrum. So Rassi very much, at the moment, reactive with the changes that he is making. And Andre Esterhuizen coming on as well, and it looks like Italy are happy enough to try and take the 3 points. Now lining this one up for Garbisi. He's hitting 0 from 1 at the moment. At this point in time, as Pollard only 1 on, says Mohadin. So they do still have Pollard out there. On Esterhuizen coming on. He is indeed. And another miss for Paulo Garbisi. So that is now 0 from 2. He puts up his hand and apologises. Record number of changes. At this point in time, it's got to be close to it. Already 4 changes in this match for the South Africans. And we're only 26 minutes through. And we have the, honestly, this permanent red card story is total BS. So now no arms tackle wrapped no arms equals permanent red card, says Sue. Yeah, Edward van der Merwe. Okay, I think he's just been told there by the man who was doing the subs. He was trying to explain to Edward van der Merwe it was nothing that he did in that scenario, because he actually did very well throughout the early stages of the match. Rassi melting down, says Power Bite. And also, Rassi is pretty foolish to not trust his squad. I just let the boys play, says I. Yeah, it's the most reactive we have seen Rassi in terms of his switches, but normally he does get it right. I was yelling for a missed kick, yes, says Stephanie there, but the ball is in the hands of the box now. More Vandenberg back into the pocket to Andre Pollard. And going high, and Ethan Hooker unable to claim it. That is the type of ball that we saw Edward van der Merwe get under and win just prior, but now he has made his way from the field. Okay, it is no knock on, just the line out here for South Africa. Italy need to be kicking them over. 6 points gone missing, says Bailey. He's bringing on experience in the forward, says Haino there, and let's see after 80 minutes. Although experience in the forwards you would think would bring Quaka Smith on, not Andre Esterhuizen in this scenario. I assume that one is more so for that versatility of Esterhuizen still having someone who can play in the back line on attack, as well as having someone physical in the forwards who can play that role as well. Well, that's going to be knocked on by Ruan Nokia at line-out time. Ball in the hands of the Italians. They are 40 metres out from their line. That one's going to go high. Montejuani chasing after it, slapping it back again. Ethan Hooker unable to win that aerial challenge. Oh, the big slap across field, but well retreated for, I believe it would have been Ross Vincent. Ball there for the Italians. They'll go back for another Springbok knock-on. And 3 out of 3 boys make us proud, please, says Zelda. And 0-0 after 30. Did anyone predict it? I don't think so. Like, don't get me wrong. There was going to be a slower start to this game while South Africa found their rhythm with this new makeshift forward pack. But now it's changed again. So, yeah, it's a different game than we were anticipating, I would say. Yes, Italy knock Springboks out of the number 1 spot, says Martin. And Italy just don't look skillful enough. They're poor today. And one man down leveling the playing field. Going to make this game interesting, Amish, says Leon. Yeah, it's certainly going to make it eventful for the last 50 minutes of the contest. But we are here at another scrum. So far we have seen 1 lost scrum from South Africa. They have not won a scrum as of yet. And again, they are just going with the 7 men up against the 8 of the Italians. And that is just due to that danger of the Italian back line. They don't want to have a gap forming there. For me, you put Andre Esterhuizen in that scrum and you take your risk. And that's going to be, we'll tell you what, it's worked for the South Africans. Free kick going their way for an early push from the Italians. All right, we go there. Did Rassi miscalculate, says Albert. And the bias against South Africa is astounding. Very selective reffing in TMO so far. That one's going to be kicked high from Andre Pollard. Chasing after it as Ethan Hooker. And Capuzio goes up. Can't quite claim it. Now the box 20 metres out from the Italian line. This is their best attacking chance of the whole day. And it has taken 30 minutes to get into the spot. Mone Vandenberg. And this has got to be demoralising for the Italians if we see South Africa sneak through and get themselves the try now after not having many attacking chances whatsoever. Andre Pollard across to Valimza. He's decided to go for the Italian tactic of kicking that ball away and into touch. What's the conditions like? It is raining, I believe, still at the game. It was wet earlier on, and I believe there is still a little bit of wetness around. What is the current score? The current score is actually, believe it or not, 30 minutes in, 0-0 between these two sides. First time in a while, we get into Italy's half. Says Albert there. Now ready to throw it in. Giacomo Nicotera, just a few metres out from his own line. That one's going to be thrown in, and the penalty awarded, or in fact, the free kick awarded to South Africa. Told to put the ball down here. This is going to be against the Italians for closing the gap. It could be 0 at halftime. I think now that they've got themselves the penalty there, we see there Mone Vandenberg. He is pushing again, but luckily for him, they did not reverse the penalty like what we saw earlier on. Although I think he did get a warning from James Dolman after a quick tap and go here for South Africa. 3 metres out from the line. Mone Vandenberg. And they find their way through for the box. It's going to be that guy. I picked Edwell Vandenberg to score the first try, and sadly he is no longer on the field due to a sub. So I guess my new pick, it's probably too close to the line to pick someone. But I'll go Andre Esterhuizen purely because of the fact that he came on for Edwell Vandenberg. Jean Klein sitting 7 metres out from the line now for South Africa. Mone Vandenberg goes to Grobela. Chopped down low by Giacomo Nicotera. Now a little bit of hesitation there from Mone Vandenberg, but manages to find the hands of Ruan Nokia. Now off to the left-hand side. Vandenberg still 5 out. Good phase play from the box. They're up to 8 in a row, which I believe is the most that they have had all throughout this contest thus far. Now Ruan Nokia, another carry for him. Brilliant defense from the Italians, forcing the box backwards. Sitting about 12 metres out, back into the pocket. Andre Pollard for 3. Gets it over, and the box take a drop kick to start off the scoring in this contest. Who got the red? It was Franco Mostert who got himself the red card. So after all of the pressure that we have seen from Italy throughout the 32 minutes, we see Andre Pollard slot over the cool, calm, collected drop kick. They were losing meters on their attack there, these South Africans. So Italy, they will still see that as a slight mini win. Oh, piss off. They're going to check something. Right. Sounds like they're going for offside here again. Okay, so what's happened is they've cancelled out the drop kick, but it is going to be the penalty to South Africa because of a clear offside against blue. So they've said there that Bohan Fenta blocked a man running through, so it was going to be a penalty against the South Africans. But because of the fact that Italy were offside, it is still going to be awarded as a penalty to the Springboks. Wait a minute. Yep, no, they had the reverse camera on. So it just means that Andre Pollard gets a nice easy kick from out in front if he wants it. All right, what is the decision? Yeah, Andre Pollard, he sent his side back. He said, I'm just going to get the 3 points again. I like how Hamish leans in close to here despite wearing headphones. It's instinct, isn't it? And kick to the corner, says Zai. This is for international gambling. Changed my mind. Says Sandor. But yeah, Andre Pollard, he's going to have the nice, easy kicking attempt. So currently the score is 0-0 because that kick was taken away. So 6, no, not 6. So it will just be the 3 points. And points is good, says Zelda. So yeah, Andre Pollard gets it over. And that is going to make the score 3-0 in favour of South Africa. Wasn't Marnie the starting 10? He was not. He is making his way off the bench later on in this game as the number 23. Now this seems very silly, says Big Rig. I got red card for the offside, says home business startup class. Yeah, you see him there, Wilco Low. He did deliberately get in the way of one of the Italian players, and it is lucky that Italy were offside, or else that would have been ruled out. Oh, head injury assessment here. And Pollard is not always dropped. You have no idea what you're saying, says Shin. And there, nice poly, says Sandor. It feels like 50-50 goes against Italy. But he has the South Africans are BS red. So overall, poor ref like usual, says Argentine Swiss. Right, what's happening now? Okay, one of the commentators has just said it's a bit of a farce at the moment, isn't it? Is the comment there. And that is on the commentary that is playing around the world. Right, what is happening now? It sounds like it's an Italian HIA. Oh no, I see what's going on here. There's a big dispute on the sidelines between Ben O'Keefe and the South African medic. And also the Italian medic as well is in there. This game has just turned into an ugly mess between these two sides. It seems like someone's calling for an HIA. The other side is saying that's not a legitimate one. Okay. Right, I can understand why South Africa were confused there. Johan Grobbelaar has to make his way off. Wait, no, who's going off for an HIA? Might have been Gerhard Stennekamp? Was it? This just seems like it's completely lost control. So the independent match doctor has ruled someone needing an HIA. Right. This game is stopped at the moment. So by the looks of it, I'm still trying to work out who's the guy actually making his way off the field. Who's making his way off? I see everyone looks like they're just continuing. Okay, so Gerhard Stennekamp has to make his way off the field for an HIA. Because of that, they can bring their starting Bohan Fenta back on. We'll tell you what, if it's for that clean out in the breakdown, that's probably at least a yellow. Because that looked a little bit dirty. Right. Game's back underway. Bohan Fenta comes back on for Gerhard Stennekamp. That's where we're at the moment, and it's 3-0 to South Africa. Ball stolen by the Italians. You wouldn't know if someone was up Who says DC? Get the F on with this game. Yeah, it just seems like it's a muddled mess at the moment. And probably the most, the most unsmooth game we have seen of November so far, I would say. What a weird game, says Danielle. An incredibly weird game to start off the weekend of rugby, that is for sure. Going off to the left-hand side. Italy on attack. Sitting here 20 metres out from the line. I must go for an HIA, says Wemma. Yeah, if he ends up passing, then I think that is why South Africa were so heavy on the dispute. But if he doesn't end up passing, then I guess it is the right decision for him to have to make his way off. So that was from the independent doctor. Little knock on the ground from the Italians. What's HIA? Head injury assessment. So having to go off the field, pass the HIA or concussion test, and then you can make your way back on. We have got that. I don't even understand why Rassi is freaking out. The Boks have got this in the bag, says Zai. Well, they've always talked about the fact that that last 20 minutes is when we are going to see the South Africans, whether they've got 14 or 15 on the field. That is when they are dominant. At the moment, we're 35 and a half minutes through in this contest. It is 3-0 for the South Africans. We can seem pretty dumb, though, says Sandor. Independent doctor is probably French. And Morne Vandenberg, Valimza, Pollard are now doing bad, says Flash TV. Yeah, it's once again a very confusing type of game at the moment between these sides. This is crazy. The match officials are ruining this game. And hello, Hamish says Desvonde. This is the weirdest game of rugby I've ever watched it, or I've watched in years. Now, big scrum. Ball doesn't come out there, and it's another advantage for the Italians at scrum time. They do get themselves the penalty. This has to be frustrating for the South Africans, as it now gives the best opportunity for Paolo Garbisi to add 3 points. He has missed 2 kicks so far, but this one would go over, theoretically, making the score 3-all. I was not expecting the score, says Desvonde. I don't think anyone was at this stage. How did Burn get a yellow and Mostert a red, says Haino there. Yeah, that's a very good question. But now we're going to see Paolo Garbisi. Why was there no HIA call for Ramos last week? I don't understand, says Norris. That one has gone over, making the score now 3-all between these two sides. The most 30 minutes of international rugby I've ever watched over 50 years, says Andrew. Yeah, the score 3-all. I want to try and blame a little bit to do with the weather because of the rain, but it hasn't really been the rain's fault. We've been so stop-start in this matchup. But now, Andre Pollard ready to kick this one off for the Boks. Oh, great chop and tackle from Kurt Liarense. It has actually taken 47 minutes to play 37 minutes of rugby here, which is one of the slowest games we have seen in quite some time. Truly one of the worst games due to refereeing, says Iat there. And HIA has a head injury assessment. It certainly is. And now kicking this one up high. Stephen Varney from inside of his 22. One's close to the sideline, just left alone by Damien Valimza. We see another player quite slow to get back up to his feet. I think that's Rua Nokia just shaking off the cobwebs. The last thing they want is another HIA to deal with. We have got there some of these Bamhouse in the comments. Can't even catch a ball. Never mind even play the game. Said it was there from Shin. And these two teams are intense. Yeah, there's been a lot of physicality throughout the first 38 minutes, and it seems like there's some bad blood there between these teams. Now ready to throw it in. It is Johan Robillard. Nicely taken. Back across. Johan Robillard again goes to Andre Esterhuizen. Morne Vandenberg. Sio Kolisi. Tackled down low. Across again. Jean Klein. 40 metres out. And this is where South Africa, if they can score themselves something before halftime, they would be sitting very nicely. Yeah, the man Big Dog says Stone Adventures. Do appreciate your bet here for this one. Up going high and no one claiming it. Caden Moody jumping up. It does knock that ball on. Unfortunately for South Africa, that is about their 7th knock-on of the half at the moment where the fight's on the field. Not quite. There's been a bit of push and shove between the two sides. Am I not pronouncing of the South African names? Says Ivan, thank you very much. How many subs South Africa have left? We will be looking through it at halftime, but I believe they made 4 subs at the moment. One of those has been rescinded due to the HIA of Gerhard Stinnekamp. But yeah, still theoretically the 4 changes made. And Pollard and Willemse need to be dropped, says Splash TV. I think Willemse has been alright throughout this game, other than the fact that he did have that mistake of trying to go for a kick in behind on attack. Outside of that, his defensive work's been pretty solid up against the Italians when they were 15 on 15. We need a recap of events. We will give it at halftime, 15 seconds away from this first half being over. And for the Italians, I believe they will just feed this ball in and then kick this one into touch. They are only about 7 metres out from their goal line, so no point getting too risky here. If you are Italy, already we see there Stephen Varney pointing to the sideline. Oh, but the free kick awarded to South Africa. The hips went up. And the Bok fans are being way too harsh. They're playing fine. Italy just putting the pressure on. Now sitting currently 5 metres out from the line for the South Africans. They have a great chance now to be able to lock in a try before the end of this first half. Amone Vandenberg back across to the left-hand side. I don't think they'll go for a drop kick again here unless they do have themselves the penalty advantage. Now there's another advantage here for the Boks, just 1 metre short, although they may be over. Yes, they are, and the Springboks score before the halftime break. They start to make a dog pile on the try scorer. There's going to be some push and shove here because I think there were a few Italians involved in that pile after making the tackles. Italy will not maintain their intensity, and it is Marco van Staden who pops up with the try, or is it? Okay. It's going to be checked here. So I don't want to award it just yet. They did already have the penalty advantage anyway for South Africa. Right, Marco van Staden, his try will stand. And that is going to be halftime in this fixture, ladies and gentlemen. The score sits 10 points to 3 in favour of South Africa. South Africa try ruled out, owing the HIA. Says Power Bite. We have got their try time, says Brett there, and Italy won't be able or will not maintain this intensity. And pathetic refereeing, says Salah there, and red card for scoring, try out, says Allen there too. And try at last for a fun start, and yeah, a brutal first half of rugby. Seal Kolisi having a big chat there with James Dolman, the referee in this contest. Great latch and drive, says Jimbo there, and Dero Gear says solid. And also marvellous response from South Africa. Everything being questioned by the officials. Was it a permanent red card? It was a permanent red card for Franco Mostert. So if it's anything like we saw last week, we're going to see him also given about a 4-match ban. I need a drink from my nurse, says Stephanie. I'm South African. Why are Bok fans so fickle when the coaching team is blooding new talent in an attempt to go for a 3rd World Cup, says MVHR. And also, how long to match did South Africa get red card, or how long into the match? So I believe it was about 10 minutes in for Franco Mostert. I'm starting to believe in the bias against South Africa conspiracy, even though I'm a neutral viewer, says Alan there. And Box got this, says Brandon. And are we going to play every game with 14? Because World Rugby is insecure, says Dylan. But the thing is, if they keep playing with 14 and they keep on winning, like, that is a statement and a half. We saw their game last week up against the French, playing with 14 men, went on to win it by 15, one of the bigger margins that they've had over the French. So pretty much saying we don't need 15 to be able to beat yous. But the scrums have certainly been a talking point throughout this game as well. Was it a red, says Christopher? For me, it was penalty. And maybe if you're really being harsh, you could say a yellow card. But I didn't see it as anything more than that. When I heard them say about permanent red card, I was utterly confused. And yeah, I haven't seen too many people say that they would give it as a red as of yet. And South Africa can do it, says Greta there. I didn't see any head contact in Mostert's red card. I don't understand why Fussy is rated over Willemse. I now understand why Fussy is rated over Willemse, says Splash TV. And also we have the attempted kick to the head, no problem. Sloppy tackle by the Boks, permanent red, says Echo JB. And has Rassi decided to make the game dull? A forward-based attack just to show how much of a dumb decision ruins the spectacle? I don't think so. I think that it's been a few tactical switches from Rassi early on here. But I don't think they have any intentions of making this a dull game from here. If anything, they will go out in that second half and probably look to really increase the intensity and show that even with 14, they'll still beat these sides. Who scored the try? It was Marco van Staden, who managed to score right at the end of the first half. And also a yellow would have been harsh, let alone a permanent red. Says Yetis there. And critical score before halftime, says Leon. Absolutely pathetic for the second game in a row. The tackle player doesn't even go off for an HIA, says Salah. Yeah, to be fair to Garbisi, he kind of took that shot like a champ. But saying that, a lot of the weight of the shot, like we saw, was to the kind of collarbone area. We have good there, thanks, chat. And yourself, Hampshire. Get a drink in you, says Eric there. In your opinion, was a red. So, like I said earlier on, for me, it was a penalty and maybe a yellow card if you're being harsh. But yeah, it's certainly going to be one that is talked about. LeBock and Grant will change the game, says Splash TV. And come on, Springboks. We can do it with 14 men. They don't eat what we eat. And Rassi paid Mostert, gave his bonus for his plan. And also, it does not matter what the first half is because we will win in the second half, says Stuart. Yeah, the second half is normally when we see South Africa up the tempo. And I believe that is what we're going to see again. Just mentioning the bench at the moment. Gerhard Stennekamp, he made his way onto the field. He is now off again for an HIA. He is yet to return out onto the park, which means that Bohan Fenter, he went off at around 24 minutes and then got to come back on before the end of the first half. Wilco Low, he is out there because of the switch of Zachary Porthen. Arges Neyman, he is still yet to make his way on, but Rua Nokia has come onto the field. That was for Ben Jason Dixon, who only got 12 minutes in this contest. That was after that red card that we saw for Franco Mostert, and Andre Esterhuizen also making his way onto the field. That was for Edwald van der Merwe, who was having a solid game out on the wing, but Rassi deciding that he needs that extra forward option. So that is where we saw Andre Esterhuizen included there too. One moment, I am about to sneeze, so I will very quickly mute, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. I missed the mute button or the unmute button. Don't worry, guys. We're going to be okay. World Rugby hates us. It's jealousy. We thump all their teams. Says Gary there. And also his head moved forward in that tackle. No way there's head contact, says Bennett. And he's still got the flu a little bit, like about 10 or 15% sick still. But that is all right. That red card was not even a penalty in my view. Tackled on the chest and moved up to the neck. Wasn't even near to the head, says Nick. Yeah, see, the really big factor that they ruled as red was because of no arm wrap from Franco Mostert. But I felt like he was in the process of wrapping that arm at the time of the collision. But because of the teammate of the Springbok making the tackle, it meant that the guy actually arrived in the tackle a little bit earlier than Mostert was anticipating, as he was still in the process of bracing for impact at the time. Anyone think Mostert was just pulling out of the tackle? Says Kyle. Yeah, I don't see it as anything close to a red. He was in the process of wrapping, says Randomly Factual. So yeah, I would have said mitigation. If you really want to be harsh, give him a yellow. And then that's probably still, for some people, considered a bit harsh. But at the end of the day, it's still, it would have moved on. Ben O'Keefe should referee netball. But the thing is, Ben O'Keefe's not even the main ref in this game. He's on the sideline at the moment. What has happened to body tackling? Says Stuart there. I thought 20-minute red card is brought in, so these events don't end up in permanent red, and permanent red is reserved for serious foul play. And Rassi realised there's something about number 14. Says Gavin there. But the second half of this contest, that is not a mile away from starting up. What we will do here, ladies and gents, is we will go like this and like that. These are the upcoming matches for South Africa. They are going to be missing another lot, more than likely, for that game up against the Irish. The chance of that red card being rescinded, let's be honest, is extremely low, even if it should be. So that means that Mostert, as well as Ludiacha, neither man would be playing up against the Irish. The crazy thing is, though, right, you lose two world-class locks in Ludiacha and Franco Mostert. Starting lineup, Eben Etzebeth, Rua Nokia. Off the bench, Arjes Neyman. That's still better than 99% of international teams can field for their locking duo and reserve lock. So, yes, it's unfortunate, but they're still going to have plenty of depth here for South Africa. They've got the game up against Wales the week after. That is the last game of the November internationals. Then for the Italians, they have got their match next week up against Chile. Now, initially, that game was going to be up against the Samoans, as it was anticipated that Samoa would qualify for that Rugby World Cup before now. They still have their game next week up against the Belgium side to see who gets that last qualification spot overall. But the odds at the start of this game were $7 to the $1.08. At the moment in this game, they are $1.14 to $6 in favour of the South Africans. We have there, are you a Box fan? Says Hope Daniels. I am a big fan of most of these international sides. We do try our best to be right down the middle in terms of these ones. Can you recap for us what happened in the half with all the strangeness? Says, hey, no, honestly, it would take me all this halftime break to go through it, but pretty much the gist of it was scrum-wise, Italy have done very well. We saw the red card of Franco Mostert, about 3 or 4 switches from Rassi, and at the moment, after all of that, going into the halftime break, South Africa still lead by 7 off the try of Franco Mostert. How does Stennekamp get a head knock? Why no replays of the HIA incident? The thing is, they showed one replay, and it was of an Italian pretty much driving a shoulder into him on the ground, or at least that's what I saw, and then they very quickly got rid of that replay, and we didn't see it again. We have to stop trying to pronounce these box surnames correctly, Hamish. I'm covered in phlegm. Says Eric J. And permanent red card is crazy insane. Says Shongololo. And also, not fair to the Bok. We have to turn this around, says Marion. And it was a reading from the gum guard, says Sashin. And there too. And Italy number 1, always going in more horizontal and straight every scrum, says Madman Magic. But yeah, second half, very close to getting underway here. 1 second, we'll go like that. We'll go like that as well. We've probably got another, I would say, about 5 minutes before the second half gets underway. What is it about linesmen changing the rest decisions? Says Yetis. Yeah, like I said, I want to go back and listen to what the discussion was between Ben O'Keefe and James Dolman, because it seemed like there was more like power for the touch judge than there was for the main referee in that scenario, which is always a bit of an interesting one. Now we have got down, what about Moody, hit in the air? Why not letter of the law for that? Says Kyle. Do you think that the Italians will be carded? I would say that Italy in this match probably will end up with a yellow card in the second half, just with how they are playing throughout the first. But I think it could still be a bit of a 50-50 in terms of whether or not they do get it. One moment, I'm about to sneeze again, so I will quickly mute. That was 3 in a row. That one, we have got their Springboks. Good luck, boys. Win today. I should South Africa just start next week with 14 men to get fair calls, says Nate the Gunner. Well, I did see someone on Instagram. I want to say they were joking, but they did make the joke about how when Rassi announced the side and it was so different, they said that they should be, rather than not having a replacement hooker off the bench, playing with 14 for this game and donating a club player or like a player to a club. And the thing is, they are playing with 14 again here. And like a man says Berenda, it's a very strange match. Yeah, very strange. And also very long at this point in time. I feel like the chance of this game running smoothly does seem relatively unlikely. So what I might have to do, I've just got to look through it when that England versus New Zealand game is supposed to start. It's supposed to start in 47 minutes, or at least my commentary was. So I think I'm going to have to delay that by 10. Just because of how this match has been going. I don't think we're going to get going early enough at the start of that one, so we will delay it by a little bit, which will still give us 30 minutes of build-up, so plenty of time to discuss, of course, this one, as well as that upcoming game. From what I saw, there was no head contact if it was against the chest. Says, Weary G. And also, what you mean, comeback? Says Sandor in there too. And also in the next stream, can we do a poll for who will get a card? Well, for that game, because of the fact it's 50-50, I will be sticking with the who is going to win, because honestly, that game could go either way. And we have got there young G. Imagine being so dumb. Says Shin there, and England won by 5, says Martin. And do you think it was a red? I don't. I thought that it was a yellow at most, and even yellow would have been debatable. And also we have got there, we'll have to get the scrum right, can't play like this, says Nick. And there's clearly an instruction to the refs that use permanent red cards more, says Umpalelo. And yeah, it makes you wonder how many decisions, had they been giving these permanent red cards weeks ago, how many would have actually been given as reds. It's not that hard to start worrying about the state of the officials, but given the 2 red cards for tackles without wrapping and so-called being officiated by the ARs and not the ref, what the F is going on, says Wayne. Yeah, it's a confusing one, that is for sure, but at this stage, I think the impressive part is even with all that happened throughout that first half, South Africa are leading 10 points to 3 in this contest. We've seen 2 missed kicks from Paolo Garbisi, so Italy could have found themselves on the 9 points. We have seen Andre Pollard sort over a penalty, as well as that last-minute try from Marco van Staden in the half. I wasn't even a yellow penalty at most. Hit on Sears was worse. Sears a stormer there. And Young G, I'm watching it on TV, but I'm here for your unbiased commentary. Sears shin, this game is total BS and ridiculous. Ref clearly not listening to Sear, who's getting pissed off. South Africa being targeted big time. And also the refs probably get a Christmas bonus for permanent reds. I'm proud to call myself a South African, says Young G in there too. And Brendan now confirmed, no head contact, says Darren. And Garbisi should be doing better, says Sashin. Yeah, he's not normally one to miss these kicks, which is why I do feel Tommaso Allen off the bench may be quite a crucial member. If you sneeze 11 times in a row, it gives you an instant orgasm, Hamish, says Christopher. Well, after the live stream, I'm going to have to find myself a feather. We have got there, I can't see anything, says Sammy Lutz. And there, can you see myself out of curiosity, or can you see absolutely nothing whatsoever? We have got the Belgium vs Brazil game, was a cracker. Yeah, very close between those two sides. I back to Tommaso Allen, bro. Says Sashin there. It's not our technique. They want to phase out the big and giant-sized players. But both sides have made their way back out onto the field. I see non-contested scrums on the horizon. Them's the rules, and Rassi is super smart. Do you think Sasha would have changed the tone in the first half? Very hard to tell, because Andre Pollard hasn't had a massive amount of opportunity here either for the South Africans. Plus, early on in that last game up against France, we did see a similar tactical kicking game from Sasha, just like we are seeing from Andre. Refs simply need to be better too much. Oh, the match is about the officials, says Stephen. Yeah, hopefully second half is smooth. Now, like I mentioned, it was a very long-running first half. We have got only less than an hour. That's not maths. An hour and a half, I should say, until that New Zealand versus England match. As a South African, I'd rather have these type of decisions happen now than the World Cup, says Umpalelo. And also, seriously, is it getting to the point where maybe South Africa call their players off the field and leave? Probably not. If they did that, they'd probably, let's be honest, World Rugby wouldn't take it well. And even if they feel like they're being hard done by, it would be potential for them to lose a lot of privileges if they did that. Edwell back on the field. Who is Edwell Funamurva on the field for, I wonder, in this scenario? And now, kicking this one off, nicely taken by Marco van Staden to manage to score himself the try right at the end. F World Rugby, says Stormer. Yeah, see, the problem is, though, they have got all the power. As much as the players and as much as the countries involved in World Rugby like to feel like they have control, sadly, there just isn't that option. You know, they can't do a lot about a wrong decision because it just gets you in more trouble. But now, kicking this one downfield is Apollo Garbisi. So Kurtley Arendse is the man who is off. All nicely slapped back by Monty Ioane, and the ball in possession of the Italians. Damien Valimza in the breakdown would have won the penalty. They will go back for the scrum. Is it raining? Says I. It does look like there is still a little bit of rain around. I don't get why people can square saying World Rugby are out to get South Africa. Win in almost every game, including this one. Most decisions are going South Africa's way, and then they win. Says Big Rig. And red cards are a cunning game plan to beat the Springboks, because when there aren't any Springboks left, other teams may stand a chance. Go the box, says YouTube user. Countries can leave and start Rebel League, says Sandor. We see there Marco van Staden having a bit of ice on his neck here too. A little bit similar to what we saw. Is the Kiwi still moaning about World Cup final? Get over it, man. You guys lost, says Weary G. I haven't seen too many Kiwis talking about the World Cup as of late. I feel like because we are closer to the next World Cup now, a lot more people are looking in the future rather than the past. But it is concerning, the fact that, oh yeah, see that looks like a big enough collision. Tell you what, if the penalty is against Franco Mostert, if Franco Mostert gets a red card for that one, the Italian number 5, Zabonin, probably needed to be looked at for that one too. There was no arm in that tackle. There wasn't a lot of it, was there? But now, ready to put this ball in, Stephen Varney. And a free kick going the way of the Italians. Why can't the coaches challenge certain penalties and red cards? They did bring it in for Super Rugby for a little bit. They had a captain's challenge, or in fact, I think that was in the Bunnings NPC, but they found that it slowed the game down too much. But the reason it slowed the game down too much was because of how many times the refs were getting it wrong. Not all. Not quite taken cleanly by Damien Valimza. He is calling for the knock-on against the Italians, which I think there was one, so it will be now the penalty, actually. Yeah, penalty awarded to the Italians. Damn, I just had a flashback to puberty, says Sandor. You're doing Ireland versus Australia tomorrow, mate. So I am going to be doing the Fiji versus France, and we have got Rugby Itchy will be coming on doing Ireland versus Australia. So we are covering both of those games at the same time. The table is tilted. The game is rigged. Says GGB. What's the name of the ref again? It is James Dolman in this case. Now, there were the two knock-ons. If Racey says anything, it's a 2-month ban. Says Christopher, I believe in South Africa, he's going to win. Says Francois. About 13 metres out. Kicked over from Polo Garbisi, making the score now 6 points to 10 between these two sides. Okay, so Italy do dirty, playing tackles and 0. Cards, a load of bollocks. Says Brett there. Only the 4 points separating these two sides. How can Van der Merwe come back on? Is Kurtley Arnold's at HIA? It's a very good question. And I assume that you'd have to assume it's an HIA. Because they also still have Marnie Libok as a back replacement. So I'd assume that they would have had to make that change first. But no, I'm not too sure how it works. We do also see Gerhard Stennekamp making his way back onto the field. That is for Boan Fenta. Nicely taken by Lorenzo Canoni in that number 8 jersey. I feel an upset coming, says there's Vonde there. Big collision again. Stennekamp is also back, guessing he passed the HIA. He certainly did, yes. And both France and Italy want to be us, says Sandor. That one's going to be kicked up high. Lewis Liner trying to line this one up. He's had a quiet day at the office, but he has slapped that one back onto the side of the Italians. Bit of a loose ball. Looked like a knock-on, an accidental offside actually there from the Italians, but they are going to call it as play on, which gives Italy the position inside of their 22. But you need to leap like a Bocky now, please, in this half, says Hope. And score the box, says Zelda. And there as well, that one is going to be kicked into touch. About 14 metres out for the line. South Africa will have themselves this line-out throw. Ref should get a red card for a large payment by the Mafia. If he needs an HIA, then who hit him in the head? Says Sean. Yeah, it's interesting. He went off at half-time for the HIA. So obviously did show symptoms of something maybe from that first half. But yeah, it is always a good question in terms of if guys are going off for head knocks, where is the footage of said head knock? And now Johan Robillard ready to throw this ball in again, and the buck will kill them. 12 points to 29. Arasi looks very angry, says Jimbo. As you would be at this stage of the match. Sia Corlisi, he is going off the field. That is for Arge Sneyman. Now just talking about the impact players off of the bench that South Africa still have available. They have made most of the switches, and at this stage of the match, normally they would have made most of the forward replacements anyway, but they are, of course, still playing with the 14 on the field. That one's going to be kicked downfield. Lewis Liner thought about going up for it. Moody looked like he was blocked. And it's going to be the mark. Right, he's out to the side, no obstruction, but that was not the call on the drop kick charge down, or the drop kick obstruction that we saw in the first half, but it is a good kick downfield from Lewis Liner. Is it now just Kwaka and the halfbacks left on the bench? Yep, so they have just got Marnie Libok, Grant Williams, and also Kwaka now as their last three. This officiating is ruining the game session. But now Johan Robillard just trying to dry off that ball in the wet conditions. And thanks to the commentary, wet conditions, go the box. There's Yusuf there. Now Robillard throws it in, nicely taken by Ruan Nokia. And Monet Vandenberg moving forward, 35 metres out. Being told to use it. Vandenberg just rolling this one back as Pollard's still on. He is still out there on the field at the moment. Chasing after it. And Andre Estes, in fact, that time it was Ethan Hooker trying to slap it back. Can't quite get a clean hand on it, though. He struggled under the high ball for today, Ethan Hooker. Now Garbisi kicking it downfield off his left boot. Doesn't get a massive amount of distance on it. It's taken by Pollard, but they're going back for another penalty. And that is going to be against number 9. And that is actually against the Italians. So that means that South Africa have got themselves another penalty here. This opening game for the New Zealand, this opening game for the New Zealand game turning out to be rather entertaining. Says Leon there. And yeah, we are pretty much going straight over to that next live stream when it takes place. Starting that one in 45 minutes time. Initially it was going to be in 35 minutes time, but we would have ran out of time because of how long this game is going to be running. And let's go Bok tries, says Brett. And there as well. And yeah, Gary, we really care what you have to say, says Monique. What did Gary say? Where is Gary? I miss Gary. I still miss Gary. I can't find Gary in the chat. His game is not gaming. Says Anel. It's certainly been one of the more stop-start games around the place. But hopefully the last 30 minutes is going to be a very good one. That's going to be now in the hands of the Italians inside of their own half. Paolo Garbisi kicking it up high. Lewis Liner chasing after it again. Slapping it back. Winning the aerial challenge once more for the Italians with another knock-on advantage here. Lewis Liner kicking in behind. When are they going to learn that that is not the tactic here? They have driven the South African into touch though, so they will be awarded the line out. But that is about the 4th or 5th time that Italy, every single time that they get on an attack, rather than running the ball, they will just boot it away. What happened with the penalty? Says, I hope so. It was the penalty in favour of the South Africans, and that's actually a very good question because I don't remember what happened. And that one, I think it was stolen by the Italians at line-out time, in fact. Damian Valimza taking that ball nicely. He had 5 Italian players all over him. And the big celebration. Right, there is a player down. It looks like a neck injury here for Giacomo Nicotera. I'm Italian, and I'm offended by this biased ref calling tiny decisions for Italy while ignoring the same caliber for South Africa. It's horrible. Maybe if Italy somehow win, doesn't matter. Says Shin there. And penalty was for Bok 9. See, James Dolman actually had his arm up for the Italian 9, I believe. Initially, he may have actually switched in the end. That would make more sense. Italy must keep the ball in hand, use the one-man advantage. Says Leon, looks like Lewis Liner just getting a little bit of ice on the calf as well here. It looks like we are not a mile away from seeing a change made for the Italians. Federico Ruza ready to go. And also, I believe that is maybe Di Bartolomeo in that 16 jersey. Afrikaans. Says Sistos. Sadly, I don't have much of an Afrikaans background in terms of being able to speak. No arms clean out. Says Session there. And would feel ashamed if was a Kiwi watching this game. Says Rhinus. I assume you're saying because of the New Zealand referee. But yeah, I don't think we really claim referees. I don't think anyone really claims their refs, do they? I think that most sides prefer that the refs just stay as a separate entity so that they don't have to worry about getting abused for no reason. That's being the country of the ref rather than the ref themselves. Northern referees have decided to blow us, so expect the worst from them. The IRB are at it again, need to clean out that cable out in Dubai. And also we have got the Italy hanging in there, says John, and they have now got themselves a line-out throw about 7 metres out from the line. We claim our good referees. Okay, so you don't claim all referees, just the good ones. We're now ready to throw this ball in for, I believe it is actually going to be Ferrari who made his way onto the field. That was for the injury of Riccioni. Well, in fact, they might actually be playing him on the other side. That is very wet, says Mohadin there. Now 10 metres out from the line, Italy still in possession. Although, no, in fact, stolen by the South Africans. Morne van den Berg back with the possession. And we'll be kicking this one downfield off his left boot. Coming off the side a little bit, so about 20 metres out from the line. Italy will still have themselves the line-out throw. Talk about positioning, please. No more about the card. Enough already positioning of Hooker. 11 or 12 now. Says Derek. So I believe they have still got Ethan Hooker in the midfield for this contest. Says Kurtley Arendse went off and Edouard van der Merwe made his way back on. But 20 metres out from the line, it is going to be the line-out here for the Italians. And we have got there, they find themselves in good positions. And then like panics their session. Yeah. It's been the case how every time they enter the 22, it's as if someone zaps them and say, hey, you have to kick the ball now. Almost stolen by Jean Clay, but now rolling more chance here for the Italians. Nicotera, little grubber in behind because they obviously entered the 22, and now ball claimed again for South Africa. I don't know what Italy's tactic is, but at this stage it seems to be give the ball away every time they try and get an attack going. Morne van den Berg, though, in possession 5 metres out. Unless they're trying to play the long game of slowly trying to wear down the South African defence, but I don't think it's that. And no need to panic. This is the box fourth side. Says Alistair. And at least Melbot Blood, but big upset inbound, says Chris. Although they're not going to win if they keep on giving the ball straight back to the South Africans. That is now, I want to say, the 6th time that they have entered the 22 and kicked the ball away. And cannot win without possession. Says Sister, yeah, and they're doing all the hard work of getting the ball to then say, we don't want it anymore. Here you go, South Africa. It looks like Jean Clay, he has made his way off the field. That will be for Hwaka Smith, I believe, in a bit of a reshuffle in that 4-pack again. I believe in our bot, guys. Italy being polite. Oh, no, please, you have the ball. Says Big Rig. Now line out throw again. Nicely claimed by the Italians. Right. They're 22 metres out from the line with another rolling maul. And Italy haven't been this poor going forward since the World Cup. Says Jim, although this rolling maul setting up quite nicely. Hwaka Smith trying to sneak in there and get the steal. Arges Neyman, did he come through the middle? He's told to get out of it. Ball is still there for Italy. It looked like they almost went to ground. It's going to be the advantage now for the Italians. 7 metres out from the try line. Italy lacking options, says John there. And have Italy made any subs? Just the one of Ferrari. Outside of that, oh no, Federico Rusa is also on the field. So the 2 changes at the moment for the Italians. Now back across to the left. Popping short ball. One Inacio breaks. Almost beating the gap for Manoncello. Now in off his feet there for Marco van Staden. That was quite cynical. And Marco van Staden, he gets rumoured as a yellow card machine. And he's got himself another one here. The box down to 13 players. And that is the absolute last thing that they needed. Marco van Staden, they mentioned there, clearly off his feet, trying to rip that ball away. And for a man who was under pressure for his discipline, that is the last thing that he wanted there. Silly boy Marco, says Jimbo OMG. Says Brett there, right, the Italians have the option of taking on 3 to get themselves back within 1, or they have the option of being able to go aggressive here. If Italy can't score against 13, then holy moly. And why are we being targeted by officials? It's so obvious. Looks like Italy are taking on the 3 here. And we have got there, didn't even try to stand up. Yeah, he kind of just lay in that breakdown and didn't decide to do much else. And 4 past says Stormer. I assume that was the one to Manoncello. It did look very flat. Rassi stressing for sure now. Says Stephanie there. That kick has gone over for Garbisi. And that will make the score 9 points to 10. I actually think if you're South Africa, you don't mind Italy taking 3 points there. Because honestly, in that scenario, now you're down the right end of the field. And you've got about 80 to 90 metres to work with behind you rather than the 5 to 10 metres if Italy decided to go for a quick tap or a line out. I actually think 3 points for Italy there. That's probably best case scenario for the Springboks. And that was a 7-pointer, says Sashin. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Italy didn't go for it. But now, of course, it depends on what happens from here. Italy with the position in hand. South Africa going to win next week with 12 men, says Wuzo there. Now, Marco says Gasper rolling this one back again for Stephen Varney. We're 53 minutes through what has been one of the more crazy games of 2025. Damian Valimza tries to step, gets around. Lewis Liner breaking the line, and now the box in position on the right part of the field. 40 metres out, Andre Pollard. Back across now to Andre Esterhuizen. And it does actually look like Ethan Hooker, for now, has found himself situated out on that right wing. So Esterhuizen, while the Springboks are on attack, finds himself slotting into the midfield. Now Morne van den Berg goes to Pollard. Big 2-man tackle. Knocking the ball out of the hands of the fly half. They will go back for the initial penalty though. Now we have got there come on the box. Try time G's. And yeah, obviously not intellectual giants, the Italians. See, it's Quinton there. And it looks like now they will have the option, the Springboks, of just taking that 3 points back. Rassi really made a big mistake with his team selection. See, I don't know if I agree there, because it's very hard to know how this team would have gone had Franco Mostert not had a red card. I feel like that has definitely changed the momentum of this game. Looks like, a bit of an injury here for, that looks like Ross Vincent. Maybe? Oh, that looks like a bad injury here, maybe a pectoral. I don't like complaining about the ref, but 16 versus 13 is just not right. He is penalising clear Italian penalties, and that one is going to go over from Andre Pollard. He still sits with his 100% for today, 3 from 3. Do we have a bomb squad today? They've made all the changes at this point in time for South Africa. They made changes, 3 or 4 of which inside of the first half of rugby. So I feel like they slightly mitigated the bomb squad factor, but still those players out there on the field now. And we have got their 13 men in the box still winning, says Big Rig. And Italy don't deserve to win this game, been shocking, says Bailey. Yeah, they look lost on attack at this point in time. They don't seem to have any sort of way of scoring a try, because every time that they almost have a chance, oh, that was high. Oh, and Kwaka Smith, both men leading in with their heads there between him and Federico Ruza. Now Mone van den Berg told to use it. Rolling this ball back, and we'll kick it this time off his right boot. Going up for it, Kapawatso, nice take. Again under the high ball, 40 metres out from the line, the Italians with the ball in hand. Huge fan of Ange, says Sashin. Yeah, he's been the glue that holds this Italian backline together. Kwaka Smith manages to rip that ball away for the South Africans. You can see the intent straight away from Smith. Morne van den Berg goes to Pollard, now for Limza. He will kick the ball downfield, trying to find a bit of open space. But at the back it is Paulo Garbisi. He will go high with it, chase in after it, but doesn't end up winning the foot race. Non-contested therefore. Valimza tries another step. The only Wolfsburgs are the ones getting beat by 13 men. Says Suran there. Oh, leaving that one, Monte Ioane. That almost turned into a 50-22, but it goes out about 25 metres out from the Italian line. We're doing the TMO. I believe this is actually for Federico Ruza, though. I want to show you. Okay, it's 8 blue on 21 white. So it's Kanoni on Kwaka Smith. I mentioned how both men went in high. I actually called him Federico Ruza, though, rather than Kanoni. Come on, Italy, make us proud. Okay, it just clips the nose of Kwaka. Number 8. What is the decision going to be now? Okay, it's going to the bunker for this one by the sounds of it. It is going to be a yellow card for Lorenzo Canoni. So it's going to be 13 on 14 at this stage. Clear head contact, only yellow, says DG. And also all going downhill for Italy after that stupid choice to take the 3 after the yellow. Yeah, that is when they really needed to get going. We play it in white again. They are indeed. So it is the yellow card and off-field review. Well, this one, Box versus Italy versus referee. Still Box will win. Says 2 base for life. Okay, I think that they were just confirming that it was South Africa's ball there. I hope it didn't hurt Kwaga's lovely face. Says Neil. You get a card, you get a guard. Everyone gets a card. I watched some 80s rugby. It was a man's game back then. Says Sister, and also bias ref should be red. Says Carol. So yeah, that one is awarded as a yellow, which can still be upgraded to a red. Was shoulder against shoulder, says no name. And Kwaga can't afford to be hit on the nose, says Christopher. In there too. And such a negative game of rugby, hard to watch all over. With all the over-reffing, says Michael. Yeah, I at this stage we've still got 24 minutes left. But for me, this is probably the worst game that we've seen this year. Or at least, oh no, that's hard to beat. Because I think it was Zebre, no, who was it? I think it was Sharks versus Cheetahs in the Carling Curry Cup was an absolutely awful one. I think it was that game anyway. But this has been the worst game of international, I think, that we've covered so far. It's just been so stop-start. There's been no consistency. That wasn't straight from Johan Krobela, but luckily wasn't called for the South Africans. And it does mean that they are now going to have an attack from just inside of their own half. This card story is hilarious, says Meteorite. That one's going to be kicked high. Lewis Liner trying to slap it back, but it's knocked on by Edward van der Merwe. Referee says play on. I'm sure that they will check that one, though, if South Africa do turn it into an attacking try chance. Valimza, ball on the outside to Andre Estes, and now Johan Robela charging forward. 10 metres out from the line now, although getting in the breakdown. Italy trying to get the steal. Worst game as every Samoan game this year, says Navigator Island. That is true. They've had a lot of handling errors throughout those matches. Hopefully not the game up against Belgium in a few days' time. Andre Esterhuizen trying to break his way through. Oh, Kanan Moody almost able to pierce that gap. I am curious to know if the TMO is going to be checking that knock on, though, or whether this one, if South Africa can get over, it will stand. Now pick and go again from Andre Esterhuizen, keeps the body low. Gerhard Stennekamp, no advantage against the Italians. South Africa just looking for that next big option. Good counter-ruck from Italy, but they will go back for the penalty, and that now means that they can't go back for that knock-on. So that is actually a good thing for the South Africans here. And Box will have another 2 tries still, mark my words. And most of the Lions UIC games are pretty poor quality. Rev must suck because after this game, to earn his pay. And also we got the Italy being screwed by the ref, says David. Only an hour to go before we get to see some quality rugby, says Eric J. Oh, now they're going to try and say that Wilco Low made head contact in the breakdown, are they? They're going to be showing the replay. They're going to check this. They're going to go upstairs, and this is probably going to be a yellow card to Wilco Low. This has been such a bad game of rugby, ladies and gentlemen. Every time we almost get some rhythm, it just gets slapped out of it. What's 9's time elapsed? Says Stephen. So we're 59 minutes through at the moment. But they just cannot make a decision without going upstairs on anymore. And also no. So we're going to see the replay here. Now, this clean out from Wilco Low, in a normal scenario, probably is a yellow card, to be fair. Whose fault, the players or the refs, says Warren. Yeah, it's a hard one. A yellow, I think so. I think that South Africa are going to be playing with 12 men up against 14 men in this game. Oh, hang on. James Dolman may have just said he's happy with it being just a penalty because of the dynamic nature of this tackle. Okay, this is going to be ruled as nothing. That's a dangerous place to put his face. TMO needs to F off, says Greg. So yeah, nothing is given for that one sort of game. You wish you'd walked next door's dog, says JB. Right, so it is going to be playing against the Italians for offside. Sack the TMO, says down south. He just said that that was nothing though. And that scenario, nearly 7's here. And it was getting a card. No one whatsoever. No card awarded. Then the ref woke up and said he's in the mood to play a game of cards. Jeez, says Kathy. And really trying to soften this game. Very good call, says Hayno there. Yeah, although we have seen those given as yellow cards before, haven't we? So I was very surprised to see that in this game of all of them is the one that they don't award that. But, yeah. In the breakdowns, there's so much movement. This ref is an idiot, says Andrew. Are you saying that it should have been a card? Definitely not trying to give another random card because he knows he's realised how bad the cards have been. And that's not how you strip, complete the tackle, then get back in line, says Session. But now, another chance. 5 metres out from the line. South Africa with the scrum feed. It's going to be put in. Big push for the box 4 back. They get themselves the advantage. Morné Vandenberg's over the line and scores the try. If you've got a fun in your name, you're scoring today. And Vandenberg giving them more of a lead in this match, the Springboks. And that's how you score. I mentioned about it earlier on. Italy, very keen to take 3-pointers, but that's not going to win you this game. You have to go aggressive. Definitely when you're playing 13 up against you. The ref has no cards left. We have there, lovely, says Ramasu. And also we over there, try time, says Sakili, and that's a pity. Should have at least been a permanent red card against South Africa, says Casper. And why is our yellow not done? I believe it is just about over for the South Africans at this point in time. For Marco Van Staden, he will be returning. Okay, yellow card is going to remain as a yellow card for the Italians as well. We have got there this Clown is trying to dethrone Paul Williams for the worst performance of the year. So far, Paul Williams, both Australia versus Argentina games, is worse though, says Argent Swiss. But that one has gone over. And that is going to make the score 20 points to 19. Oh, sorry, 20 points to 9, I should say. I don't know whether or not Italy have any sort of comeback in them now. 11 points down at this point in time. Every time that they've had an attacking chance, they've kicked the ball away. We have got there as well from Lawrence. It says, cheating Kiwi ref doing his best to screw Box over. Pathetic. Says Lawrence, the ref looks too incompetent and inconsistent now. Says Jan. Yeah, I haven't actually worked out where the TMO is from at this point in time. I know that there are a couple Kiwis in the refereeing contingency for this match. Now Edward Funamurva chasing after this one and wins the high ball. That is exactly why he is back out on the field now, passed across. It's going to be taken by Mono Fundenberg, or in fact it was Johan Hrobela who ends up dropping the possession. Really have no fire, says Bailey. Yeah, they look lost on attack. TMO is French. Says Kierre there. Now cross kick, nicely taken by Damien Willems. Oh, he tried to kick that one downfield. Does end up dropping it into touch. And this second contacts are crazy. Says Sashin, tell you what, my voice is crazy at the moment. You can tell that I was sick last week, can't you? It's breaking all over the place. Ref might need to go down to the shop, print more cards, and that way he's handing them out. Or the way he's handing them out, says Stephanie. I need to drink some water right now. I'm sounding like I'm back in high school. This is without a doubt the worst game ever watched. Are we trying to turn as many people as possible off the game? It seems that way. It's been a really rough one. I'll be honest, I'm just looking forward to 18 minutes time when it's over. We're going in the back line. Italy. Now stepping there is Ange Capuzio into the breakdown. Marco van Staden has to be very careful. He's in off his feet again after just coming back from a yellow card. The man is asking to get yellowed again here. Hey, my favourite commentator. Every time you commentate, the box win, good man, says Basil there. And also, who got the second rear card for the box? No second rear card, but it was a yellow card for Marco van Staden. Earlier rear card was Franco Mostert. That one's kicked into touch for the Italians. If they want to win this game, they have to score right now. French TMO trying to get some revenge for last week's drubbing, says Joe. And maybe the Indian books are getting involved, says Sai. He needs some more damage, says Hope Daniels. It looks like Lorenzo Canoni is currently 2.5 minutes away from making his way out onto the field. And I would say that's about the same amount of time before we start to see someone like a Marnie Libok or a Grant Williams possibly make their way onto the field. Now rolling maul here. Arges Neyman. I believe he is trying to stay engaged in this one, trying to slow it down while also looking for that chance at a still flat attack and run from the skipper of the Italians, Juan Ignacio Briggs. That's one of the first times that man's touched the ball because every time they try and kick it away. But 10 metres out, this is when the attack has to really start. And it looks like it's going to be a prop who is going to be playing halfback now. Manoncello runs in to take it. Hamish, the Kiwi ref, is definitely not covering New Zealand in glory, says Paul. And the worst thing is I'll probably get the blame for him. Now going off to the left-hand side, Lorenzo Canoni, low chopping tackle on him by Andre Esterhuizen and Wilco Low, Stephen Varney. Nice inside ball, Ange Capuzio goes through and scores the first try of the match for the Italians. That is what they've had to do for 64 minutes rather than going for the kicks, the grubbers and all sorts that they have attempted. That is a great attacking try for Capuzio there. And it gets them back into this game. 64th minute, still time remaining on the clock. The crowd are very loud now. The Kiwi ref, being a Kiwi, has nothing to do with it, says Andrew there. And go the block, we need to try now, says Fort. And also, do you think the Italians will catch up? Well, that try definitely helps because at least now for the Italians, they know that they can score a try here. Whereas up till this stage, it didn't look possible to be able to break through. And crazy what happens when you let Brex touch the ball, says Sashin there. Yeah, like I said, one of his first carries. Not a try, says Angie. And the kick has missed again from Polo Garbisi. This has to be one of his worst performances off the tee that we have seen. And so far, he has missed 8 points total. So the rest are neutral. Says Lucas there, Garbisi forgot how to kick and how to make good decisions. Like they were saying, you'd expect them to normally get those kicks over for Polo Garbisi, but this type of matchup, Italy could have been up by 2 had these kicks all gone over. Instead, they are down by 6. It was a very flat pass to Ange Capuzzo, that is for sure. Italy showing the box some games here. Says Gaffy. Now currently 14 minutes remaining on the clock and 5 seconds remaining of the Canoni yellow. Nicely taken by Lewis Liner to keep the ball in the field of play. Paige Rallo is on for Varney. Tommaso Allen is on for Montijuani. That surprises me. I would have taken Polo Garbisi off for Tommaso Allen. And it's late now, says Sashin. And there, which just means either side can go on to win from here. It's great to see Italy being more competitive, says Alistair. How much time have we got? Still another 14 minutes remaining in this contest. Ball is loose again. South Africa having to dive back and clean it up for Andre Pollard. That's such a cheap shot from Italy and should be at least a yellow card, I would say, playing the man on the ground while he was facing backwards. They have still got the penalty advantage. Looks like an Italian player has stayed down here too, but Kane Moody gets the ball. Offload to Andre Estes, and he will back himself in the foot race. Ball on the inside of Grant Williams, but he has dropped the ball, which could have been a certain try-scoring opportunity. And now Italy thought about the counter-attack, but instead Tommaso Allen will kick this one. A very nice kick down to halfway, but that was the chance for Grant Williams to be able to score. The inside pass was perfect from Estes, but it just went through the hands. I can see Rassi with his beer during the post-match interview, says Gaffy there. And Italy is going to win because of all the bad decisions, says Ben Brits. And hold the bloody ball, says Navigator. Yeah, that one could have been the end of this contest had Williams hung on to that ball. Right, are they going to go back and check that one for Andre Pollard, the tackle made on him? Okay, South Africa being told to hurry along for the line out and go to the box. Says Marion and come on the box. Let's run in another try. Says home business in there too, but a change is about to be made again for the Italians. Now ready to throw this ball in. Rassi will get a 6-month ban for a video he's about to make, says Ruby Tuesday. Hit Grant's shoulder. That's a hard day for the Sharks duo, says Sash in there. And Williams, he had a great game all day. Just couldn't hold on to that pass, says Paul. And now Grant Williams, a little bit of wrestling going on between Wilco Lowe and one of the Italian props. Spagnolo, he is on the field for Fischieri. Going up for a great take from Tommaso Allen. Can be a clutch player in the final moments of a contest. Showing that off there. Would like to see a foot race between Capuzzo, Grant Williams and Biel Biarre. That'd be a good foot race. I feel like a lot of people would pay to watch that. Who's someone else you could throw in there? He's got plenty of pace. Someone like a Corey Toole, I guess. Someone like that with a bit of speed, or even chucking a Chislin while you're at it. And now Damien Valimza going up for it. Nice take from him and wrestled down by Capuzzo. Now 11 minutes remaining. Arias Neyman, he's dropped the ball. That is a rare error from that man, although they've ruled it as backwards now, says James Dolman. It was initially called as a knock-on, and that one's just booted into touch by Damien Valimza. And that was out on the full as well. So Italy now with the line out throw, 42 metres out from the line. Why? Oh, you know the player's better than the commentary on Stan, says Warren there. And come on the box, says Carol Ann there. And also Paul play by the box, says Lawrence. Looks like Ange Capuzzo getting a bit of strapping on his wrist. And Reece Samet would be a good one. Chislin Colby says Monique in there too. And good morning, just woke up in there from Fortnite NBA. Welcome back. And damn it, I stressed about this game for a reason, says Diana. And just give me the ABs at this point. Game is frustrating. Yeah, it's been one of the more frustrating games around that we have seen. But it's almost over. 11 minutes left of this contest. What is up with Box now? Bad play, making decisions. Yeah, it seems like those couple little switches that they've made is just hesitating that attack a little bit. See the nervous faces of the guys on the touchline. Morne van den Berg, Sio Kolisi. Some nervous faces in the stands as well. Bad day on the field. Yeah, this one's definitely not winning match of the weekend. I can tell you that right now. In fact, it's definitely winning worst match of the weekend. What is the next game you are covering, Hamish? Next game will be All Blacks versus England. And that one's kicking off in less than an hour's time, actually starting in 45 minutes We will be doing the 30 minutes of build-up for that match, so that is starting in 16 minutes, which will be very close to when this game does end because of how long it has taken out there on the field. Go Italy, says Casper there. Just subbed, enjoy the comms, says TW74. Thank you very much, greatly appreciated. Anyone else who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, I will mention after that All Blacks versus England game, I will be doing a review of this contest. I can tell you right now, it might be a bit of a colourful one because there's been plenty to break down in this game. That's a good steal in the breakdown for, I believe this time it's going to be Johan Robela. And this has been a great testing game for that man. The fact that he is used to playing only a few minutes off of the bench. Whose red card? It was Franco Mostert. But yeah, the fact that he's been able to have a full 80-minute performance here is great news for the South Africans. Thanks so much, Hamish. Always great to join you all, says Danielle there. And also we have good there, is it still raining? It looks like it's still pretty damp. It's hard to tell from the cameras, but it does look pretty rough out there at the moment. Oh, Mani Libok kicking for touch, doesn't manage to find it. So a mistake made from the box for his first touch of the day. Ange Capuzio kicking that one downfield. And now Mani Libok gets to kick it once more. Damian Valimza chasing after this one. Tommaso Allen, ball goes right through him. Now chance there, Valimza knocking it on into touch. Oh no. In fact, Ben O'Keefe says that it is a line out for the Italians. And go the Bok. And go Robela, says Swart there. Yeah, looks like it is going to be a line out for the South Africans. It did look like a knock on from Damian Valimza. France or Fiji, who are you betting? I think that France are definitely the favourites, but Fiji are the type of side to keep an eye out for. Yeah, might have just clipped the hand of Valimza in the process. They might be saying last touch was off the Italians, though. Okay, it is going to be the line-out throw for Johan Robela. We have ticked over to 9 minutes remaining. Lost ball at line-out time from the South Africans. Big tackle on Lorenzo Canoni by Marco van Staden. Been told to use it. Paige Rello going off to the left-hand side. France vs Fiji. I reckon it will be a very good game. 2 exciting teams, says Fred. Yeah, and we are going to get to cover that one on the channel. We're also covering Australia versus Ireland. We've got 2 different commentators. I am doing France, Fiji. And Box gets sent to off. Just shows how low IQ they are, says Andrew. Although, to be fair, for that Mostert one, I don't think many were given it as more than a yellow. In that scenario, now Andre Estes and going off to Edward van der Merwe, passes to Kane and Moody, who finds himself out on the wing. He pierces through the defence of Lewis Liner. Skip pass on the inside. It's another try for the Box. This time, Grant Williams is the scorer, and that will win the Box the game. No matter how much controversy there has been throughout the 80 minutes that will be played, Springboks still going to get themselves that win by around that 15-point margin if they do get another one. Love to see it, says Ramo there. Try time unless TMO pulls something out of his sleeves, says so there. And from nothing, says Iat. They're showing there the pass from Moody to Grant Williams on the inside, and then just pure pace from Grant, who has been able to hang on to that one. That's the way, guys, says Iat. My heart is in my throat, says Monique there. And one more try for the Box. Let's go, says Brett there. Now, Mani Libok, he will be the man in charge of the kicking tee. And he needs 15 men, says Rugby there. And I've returned to see Brother Casper is still around. He is here. And one more try, boys. You can do it. That kick has gone over from Mani Libok, making the score now 14 points to 27. So a 13-point lead. Is Eben injured? He is not. He is just rested for this game. I believe he will be starting in the next match up against the Irish. I hope Rassi knows which players make up his winning team, says Donald. I think he'll have a fair idea. Heading into this match, I would say there's probably only 3 or 4 guys that have actually stepped up to the level that Rassi would have wanted them to for that next game up against the Irish. But it certainly confirmed a few things in regards to the bench, I would say, in that next match. Looking forward to the Ireland match, and we are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. And Hamish, the controversy on the cards, says Reno that is going to be another penalty going the way of South Africa. Just the 7 minutes now left on the clock. Just back online, how was the game overall so far? Worst game of the year of international rugby. That's pretty much the way of summarising it. It was awful, stop-start. It just wasn't in control whatsoever, but it's turning into a better last 20 minutes. So that's one bonus. Lovely try. Italy can only blame themselves. Maybe the occasion got into their heads. Yeah, see, they've also just not really found their way of attacking. Well, says Carlin there. Italy don't deserve to win, says Bailey. Now put the nail in the coffin now, says Iat. Now ready to throw this ball in. Come on now, the Springbok, says Colleen, and it is claimed. Marnie Libok. Go on with the high kick again. Going up for it. Kane and Moody. Nice take again. From the youngster. Now passing across. Arias Neyman. Moving this one. Damien Valimza. Goes to Marnie Libok. Pops it on the inside here. Well, fun to move it. He's taken out the cameraman. And I don't think that camera is going to be working anymore. Now back across. Andre Esterhuizen. Slapped on by Marnie Libok. But it goes into the hands of Tommaso Allen. Hi, Hamish, says Dr. V, and welcome in. And box drawn last 20 minutes, says Daniel. Yeah, they were always going to be at their best for that final 20 minutes when Italy started to slow down. And for the Italians, if they want any chance of being able to get back in, they will definitely have to score right now. We have got their worst game of the decade. Rassi was right in 2021, says Jan. And speaking of 21, it is the Italian 21 with the ball in hand now for Oriassi. This match just proved cameramen are not invincible, says Shin. And that's going to be an advantage going the way of the Italians for a Springbok knock-on. Hope your day is going well, says Dr. Vian. It's been going all right. I'll be honest, this game did not live up to expectations. But, there's still plenty more matches of international rugby that we will get to see today. And I do think that they will more than make up for what we've seen here. It is still going to turn into a relatively decent win for the Springboks, though. Even with that red card and the yellow and the controversy around this game. Wilco looking a bit gassed because he had to come on the field early in this contest. Zachary Portland taken off after about 20 minutes or so in this game. TMO needs to upgrade that knock-on to a red, I think. And we have got there, Italy need to understand that they can, on their day, prove a handful for anyone, says Kevin. This game did not live up to expectations as a politician way of saying it, says Big Rig. And now the big push from the Italians at the scrum. Now Juan Inacio Brex hasn't had his hands on the ball at all enough throughout this game. Oh, mouthguard went flying there, so someone's not going to be able to go off for an HIA. I wish this ref is no reflection in you or Kiwis in general. This guy is just off on his own tangent. Says Paul, that's a loose ball. Picked up by the box. Little chip behind from Kane and Moody. Wanted the bounce of the ball, but Garbesi. Oh my goodness. That is a huge hit from Quaka Smith. Forces him back. And it will be now a 5-metre scrum for the Springboks. I think they may check this contact though, as Garbesi did take it on the chest again. And last time we saw him get hit in the chest, it was a red card. And what a hit. Says Jimbo RP Garbesi. Had a good run. And the box back line are really showing out. Right, I think it's going to be still the scrum feed for South Africa. They are not checking this one, which to be fair is surprising with the amount that has been checked today. Thanks for your great commentary. Of a game filled with incidents, says Russell. Yeah, probably hasn't been as smooth as some of the other commentaries that we've done, but it's purely been such a confusing game. You know, it hasn't been the best 80 minutes that we've witnessed, but that doesn't mean, like I said, that we won't see them play an incredible game next week. Ireland versus the South Africans. That is one that, of course, a lot of people will be keeping a close eye on. And we got that next game just around the corner. England versus New Zealand. That we will be calling on the channel as well. Free kick awarded to South Africa. Grant Williams pops it on the inside to Quaka Smith. And after the hit that he just put on, definitely deserves half a chance of being able to score. Williams goes across to Wilco Low. 5 metres out from the try line. There is the advantage now in favour of South Africa for the offside against Italy. The discipline has started to fall apart here. Grant Williams drops that ball and it's going to be claimed by Italy. So back for the penalty advantage. Where did the ref come from? So the referee is New Zealand and then the TMO is French. In this case, it's really encouraging to see how inclusive World Rugby is. It's a great step forward to hire blind refs, says Blank. As we say in Canada, an ugly win always beats a pretty loss. Go the box, says Nicola there. And now, another scrum feed. Looks like it is going to be the option. Thanks for the great commentary as usual, Hamish. You have been a pleasure to listen to. There's home business. And yeah, next game just around the corner. We are starting that next live stream in 7 minutes' time, ladies and gentlemen. So we are just about rearing to go for another one. Ref knows no chance. Now for Italy to start blowing game properly, says Iat. Why is it French TMO allowed? Says Blank. Now ball's going to be fed in by Grant Williams. Just the 80 seconds remaining on the clock here for this game. It's going to be a holding strong scrum, but penalty advantage for the Springboks. Quaka Smith drops his head in just short of the goal line, dragged down. Now Grant Williams, Marnie Libok, cross kick, out wide. Beautiful spin from Ethan Hooker, and he will get his first international try for the Springboks as they start to run away with this game in the closing moments. Gets a big hug from his teammates as well. Marnie Libok with the cross kick assist, just to make sure that he's still in form. Won't be far off your 25-point win prediction, Hamish. Says Christopher in there. And also, Springboks always push hard at the last minute. It's a great commentary. Thanks, mate. Says Frail, and we are, of course, going to be back for that game next week, taking place between Ireland and South Africa. But yeah, I went 25 points separating these two sides. It looks like 20 could be on the cards if Marnie Libok does get this kick over. And don't hug your teammates too hard, you might get a red card. And also, Cutie Pie, says Daniel. I assume that's for Ethan Hooker scoring his first try. And thanks, Hamish. A great call today, and congrats, Ethan. Says Nicola there too. And told you 13 men will smash the ref, says Tyrone. Marnie Libok. Oh, shot clock. And that's the game. Runs out of time. Doesn't get to take the kick because of the 60 seconds passing. I think Marnie Libok's just asking the question of going, why is that called and why wasn't I warned that we were up to 60 seconds? But a bit of a controversial way to end the game, just like the rest of this whole 80 minutes. This is definitely not one of those games that either side will want to watch back too often. But the end of the contest, 32 points to 14 in favour of the Springboks. Man, that was a weird game. And not in a good way. You know, sometimes you get a weird game, but it's very entertaining. That game was just weird and more weird. Out there, great commentary, Hamish, thank you. Thanks to have you here. Says Tino Tender there. Bad officiating right until the very last second. I feel bad for rugby. Says Shin. And there you go, Hamish. Fabulous weekend to you. And Libok is so inconsistent. He does something terrible, something magical, and does something stupid in 5 minutes. I do feel for him in that scenario, though, because I feel like he got no warning that the shot clock was actually on. There were a few guys on the field getting treated. Yes, great commentary, Hamish. Appreciate it. Says Iko JB. And also now for the ABs to kick butt. And there as well. Look at that, Hamish, you're a legend. Thanks for all you do. But yeah, nonetheless, 4 minutes until we start that next live stream, ladies and gentlemen. That will be New Zealand versus England. So, of course, be sure to pop on over for that one. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out our review of this game coming out in about probably 3-4 hours' time. It's going to be an interesting one. And we'll see you all for the next one.